time to have your breakfast. I therefore respectfully urge that we please find somewhere to sit down so we can begin this cross-fertilization. You're most warmly welcome to Nasarawa State, the home of solid minerals. Today, we have the presence of our highly respected and resplendent traditional rulers, respected members of the Nasarawa State Traditional Council of Chiefs. I can see His Royal Highness, the highly esteemed Emir of Kefi, who is here with us. His Royal Highness, the Aranigon, His Royal Highness, the Andoma. I can see His Royal Highness, the Chumada, His Royal Highness, the Emir, Sarkin Azara. You're most warmly welcome. We thank you so much for bringing today and taking the time to come and bless this event and share with us your pearls of wisdom. We thank you, we recognize you, we respect you, and we welcome you. His Excellency is about making his way in. The minute he comes in, we would start formally. Good morning. The gentleman with me is Yakubu Usman Rabiu. You know, we have the Disability Rights Commission here in Nasarawa State. Not only is His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, keen on attracting investments. You know, he came with a mindset that we should encourage inclusive democracy and actually catapult those values that are always kept in the back room, giving voice to the voiceless. It's my singular honor. Can we rise and welcome His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, the visionary of the Nasarawa Investment Summit, His Excellency, who continues to exceed all expectations, Engineer Abdullahi Aisule, welcoming you, thanking you for being here with us in the home of solid minerals and Nigeria's new investment frontier, Nasarawa State. We welcome you, we welcome His Excellency, and this gives us the indication that we would be starting formally. You're most warmly welcome, Your Excellency. Kindly remain standing. We'll be taking the national anthem and the state anthem as well. Remain standing for the state anthem.
Nasarawa, the land of our pride, home of solid minerals, rich in culture and agriculture. Though we differ in tongues, we are undivided and steadfast. land our forefathers strived for in hard work and dedication of our great heroes. A legacy we shall cherish forever, a land of promise we thrive. Nasarawa, where our treasured heritage flows, we shall grow from strength to strength, till many generations to come. Our pride, passion, and loyalty lies in peace and unity. Nasarawa, stay together. We can move mountains. In God we trust, we are blessed.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. We welcome you. The words of the Nasarawa State Anthem says, "Though we differ in tongues, we remain undivided, because in God we trust." And with that trust firmly, our unwavering faith in God, we believe that the people of Nasarawa State, like of course the people of Nigeria, can move mountains. You can actually turn your mountain of odds into a mountain of fortune. So the story of Nasarawa State is actually the story of Nigeria. Miniature, diverse, heterogeneous, a macrocosm of Nigeria, many ethnic nationalities. And even on the fringe of Abuja, you have about 60%, of the border of the federal capital. The contiguity is with Nasarawa State. And that's where you have Karu. And the Karu access, as it is fast strolling. Some have even said it's the fastest growing, hub or location. The density of population moving there, it's well over 2 million people just within the Karu access. So we're trying to make of Karu like you have Ogun to Lagos, like you have Maryland to Washington, D.C., like you have New Jersey to New York. His Excellency, Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, you're most warmly welcome. The Right Honorable Speaker of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly, principal officers, I can see visibly represented, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly, my Lord the Chief Judge of Nasarawa State, Honorable, we have respected members of the National Legislature. I have our representative, Honorable Abdulmumuni Ari. We have also here with us other members of our party, the APC, the chairman of the APC. We have principal officers and honorable members of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly, permanent secretaries. I essentially emphasize that today is a day that we're dedicating to the captains of industry. We believe you are the very heart of the entire essence of the Nasarawa Investment Summit. Yesterday, we had the political finery and the pomp. Today, we're going into the resonance and the substance and the meat. You are the leaning post, you are the lintel, you are the reason why we're here, our investors. So we respectfully welcome all captains of industry who are here with us. Would also like to recognize the presence of our highly esteemed and respected traditional rulers. We have here His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kefi, Dr. Shehu Chindria Musa, who is here. We have other royal fathers, His Royal Highness Aaron Igon, His Royal Highness the Anduma, His Royal Highness Sarkin Azara, His Royal Highness the Chumada, other royal fathers who are here. We most respectfully welcome you. I'll concentrate on calling out a few names from the captains of industry, and as the event unfolds, I'll still keep calling more. We recognize the presence most respectfully and welcome Dr. Mustafa Lamurde. We also recognize the presence of Abiola Lukman Lawal, the MD, CEO of Eterna, Olabode Ojo, Vice President IHS Taurus, Hajia Fatima Wali, Abdurrahman, who is here. She is representing the Angote Group. Lawrence Chiku, the Managing Director, NMPC Gas Marketing Limited. We have Brikesh Nandal, the General Manager of Olam Rice, largest in Africa, proudly situated and located in Nasarawa State. We have Pulak Sen, the Vice Chairman, Power Gas, Wolemi Esan, the Deputy Managing Partner, Olaomi Ajayi, LP. And if you don't know, Olaomi Ajayi, LP is the finest, one of the finest legal entities we have. You know, is the 10th largest in the whole of Africa and one of the finest in Nigeria and West Africa. We welcome you once more. Ogumbi, partner, Olaomi Ajayi. I have Hafsat Shinkafi, who is here, the CEO of AKI Services, and Dr. Tijibomi Ogundele, GMD of Sujimoto Group. I will recognize more and more as we get along. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 2 of the Nasarawa Investment Summit. Nasarawa State is a state of triple competitive edge, but I'd like to call on the Managing Director of NASIDA, Ibrahim Abdullahi, to come and welcome us properly to this event. MD NASIDA, please.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, our Royal Fathers, Your Royal Highnesses, other Excellencies, distinguished partners, distinguished guest speakers, our esteemed investors and partners, stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to welcome you to the second day of the Nasarawa Investment Summit 2024, particularly the Energy Business Roundtable. But before I begin about the Energy Business Roundtable, let me give a recap of the remarkable achievements from yesterday, being the beginning of the Nasarawa Investment Summit 2024. We had a very exciting and insightful session yesterday, being the opening of the Nasarawa Investment Summit 2024. We were privileged and honored with the presence of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, and also the representative of the Vice President. Our keynote addresses were delivered by Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, to underscore the importance and synergy between the Nasarawa Economic Development Strategy of Governor Abdullahi Sule and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We were also privileged to have a keynote address from the Africa Development Bank delivered by the Director General for the Nigeria Country Office. Notably, we also had some milestone agreements and understanding reached. We were privileged to have an expression of interest to do agriculture, production and processing by Lee Group, coming all the way from Kano to expand their investment into Nasarawa in the area of rice, in the area of cotton and sesame. A thank you to the Lee Group for coming to Nasarawa to make this expression of interest of an investment worth about $200 million across 3 companies in the Lee Group of companies. Thank you very much. We were also especially honored to sign the heads of terms for the Nasarawa mining program with the Solid Minerals Development Fund, Boxmore and Earth Metal, and this special program is to be supported by the Africa Finance Corporation. The Africa Finance Corporation submitted a very special expression of interest to finance this new initiative of the state government to do ethical and sustainable mining that will not only be commercially viable, but economically impactful. Those were the highlights of yesterday's remarkable outing. I'd like to say a very big thank you to Your Excellencies for being part of this significant milestone in the history of Nasarawa State. Today is the Energy Business Roundtable. Sometime in 2021, in November precisely, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule hosted the first Nasarawa Gas Business Roundtable. Industry leaders, key players all gathered here in Lafia to collaborate and discuss ways to forge ahead in the implementation and deepening implementation of Nigeria's gas utilization agenda. We also signed a tripartite agreement between the NMPC, the Gas Aggregation Company of Nigeria, and the Nasarawa State government to deepen this collaboration. Interestingly, since the inaugural gas roundtable, we have seen an influx of investors coming into the state to invest in the energy value chain. Notably, we have the Greenville, first of its kind CNG hub here in Lafia. This significant investment in the CNG hub by Greenville opens up the doors of opportunities for other players in this sector. We're also very happy to announce expressions of interest from different players within the gas and energy value chain. This is as a result of the continuous effort and leadership of the government of Governor Abdullahi Sule to ensure that we in Nasarawa State deepen gas utilization, deepen clean energy utilization. So today, ladies and gentlemen, captains of industry, I welcome you to this very important discussion as we move a step closer to realizing the industrialization ambition of Nasarawa State. Gas is truly important, and Nasarawa State does not want to be out of it. Nasarawa State wants to lead this movement. Thank you and welcome.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to day 2. So I join my voice to the voice of all the speakers that have gone ahead to say welcome to day 2 of the Nasarawa Investment Summit 2024. My name is Temi Badru, and it's such an honor to be co-hosting today with the amazing Mr. Yakubu Lamai. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to specially recognize everyone who is joining us virtually. Now, the beauty of technology is that you can connect to us from any part of the world. So from Nigeria, from Nasarawa, from Africa, or from beyond. We would like to say thank you for joining us today. I'd also like to welcome everyone who is in here, seated physically. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the study team of the Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, led by the National Vice President, Professor Emmanuel Dandara. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, it's okay to clap. Thank you. It's now time for the welcome address, and to lead this session, I'd like to invite to the stage Mr. Chijioke Uzoho, MD GSCN. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Honorable Minister, the GCO NMPC Limited, focus session in the second edition of the Nasarawa State Investment Summit 2024 with the theme Industrialization Renaissance. First, I would like to congratulate His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, for consistently providing the support and enabling environment required to actualize the repositioning of Nasarawa State as an economic trailblazer. I also want to appreciate the amazing team of NASIDA, led by the MD Ibrahim Abdullahi, with whom we have together forged an uncommon partnership. We have remained consistent in following through on the actions and takeaway from both the Nasarawa Gas Business Roundtable in 2021 and the inaugural Business Summit in 2022, respectively. Consequently, in this session, we shall be engaging and showcasing some of the practical ongoing business development and industrial collaboration milestones. First is an MOU execution with NMPC Limited and NASIDA focused on development of critical secondary gas distribution infrastructure within Nasarawa State, the joint development of strategic gas-based industry park, and the joint establishment of a lithium processing plant. This will be followed by an overview of the successful partnership between NASIDA and Greenville, focusing on the development and the completion of Nasarawa State LCNG hub. This facility is poised to facilitate early gas supply access, accelerate the statewide adoption of mobility CNG for both industrial and transportation purposes. Following that will be an unveiling of the PICNG GACN facilitated mobility CNG conversion station in Nasarawa State. This is part of the PICNG Mobility CNG National Rollout Blueprint Initiative for the adoption of natural gas as the preferred energy for transportation. Subsequently, there is the GACN NGML Power Gas NACIDA MOU execution for the development of a midstream CNG gas delivery infrastructure aimed at ensuring sustainable gas delivery to Nasarawa State. And lastly, the execution of the Nasarawa State the execution and launch of the Nasarawa State Gas Master Plan Development MOU between NACIDA, GSCN, and Axila. The objective is to deliver a world-class gas development blueprint that allows for pragmatic implementation, especially in anticipation of soon-to-be-completed AKK pipeline. The strategic approach is poised to revolutionize the energy landscape in Nasarawa State and environs, paving the way for increased investment, job creation, and socio-economic development and prosperity. In conclusion, these projects reaffirm our collective commitment to industrial renaissance of Nasarawa State and GSCN's firm resolve to deliver on its mandate for fostering and delivering practical value-adding energy solutions that are anchored on deliberate partnership and collaboration. Thank you, and I wish us all a wonderful deliberation.
Can we give him a rousing round of applause, please? Thank you very much. The day begins to unfold very briskly. We would like to say that capital goes where there is return on investment, and reputation leads you to where you believe you can actually get your return on investment. And that is why His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Esule believes that, look, to govern means to communicate. We're communicating Nasarawa State. We're visibly making sure that Nasarawa State is not just your preferred investment destination, but also the most efficient investment destination, a new frontier for investment in this country. That is the vision of His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Esule. So therefore, would like to thank the NIPR, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. They have their study team from Lagos and Abuja that are here. Would like to thank you for closely studying and seeing what is happening in Nasarawa State so that you can communicate. I recognize Professor Emmanuel Landaura, General S.K. Usman, former Army spokesperson, Professor Oke Okechukwu, a lot of them that have been here with us since yesterday. We thank you for coming to Nasarawa State. At this point, it's my singular honor and privilege to call for special remarks, and we would begin with the representative of Dangote Industries. Can we make welcome Hajia Fatima Wali Abdurrahman, Special Advisor to the Group President of Dangote Industries. Welcome back home. We have the largest sugar refinery in Africa, proudly located right here in Nasarawa State. Over 68,000 hectares of land. We welcome you, Hajia, and thank you so very much. Please, let's welcome her very well. Thank you. Thank you so very much. If you also want 68,000 hectares of land, you can get it. We can give you for something else. Perhaps not sugar, but you can, Olam has something to do with rice, but would like to welcome her, and we'll recognize more as we get along. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Your Excellency, Governor Abdullahi Esule, members of the Nasarawa State Legislature, Executive, and Judiciary, traditional rulers here present, distinguished guests from the organized private sector and the public sector, invited guests, and members of the press. So I bring greetings from Alhaji Aliko Dangote. He is out of the country, and just yesterday, day before, gave me marching orders to make sure I attend. So thank you very much for giving me the privilege, or giving him the privilege, to make some remarks. So I will read his speech. I'm very pleased to participate at the 2024 Nasarawa Investment Summit and thank the Nasarawa government for inviting me. The summit is indeed a testament to the leadership acumen of the current administration of His Excellency in stimulating the economy of the state and generally improving the lives of the citizens in a deliberate and intentional manner. I am honored to be invited. Nasarawa State is very close to my heart. Firstly, because His Excellency, the Governor, was and still is a part of the Dangote story. Secondly, because we happen to be the largest investor in this state. With over 60,000 hectares of land being used for the production of raw sugar by the Nasarawa Sugar Company Limited, a subsidiary of the Dangote Industry Limited, as part of the backward integration program of the federal government of Nigeria. The theme of this summit, Gas to Industry, Building the Background of Sustainable Industrialization in Nasarawa State, is apt and timely given the recent discovery of oil and gas reserves in Nasarawa and the role energy plays in the industrialization process in Nigeria. This puts the state in a very good position to capture the opportunities that exist in that space. This discovery will transform the trajectory of the industry in Nigeria, as well as increase the volume of the country's oil reserves from 37.1 billion barrels to 50 billion barrels. We at Dangote Group are happy that only last month, His Advisory and Technical Committee on Oil and Gas in Nasarawa State, urging them to ensure the realization of the oil and gas potentials of this state. This is indeed the right step in the right direction, and the Governor deserves our commendation. Both the government and private sector have roles to play in providing the background for sustainable industrialization of Nasarawa State. Transition from oil discovery, exploration to commercialization is a tedious one that needs patience, focus, and tenacity. Furthermore, as the state is not close to existing gas infrastructure, there is indeed a need to explore how to commercialize the gas. My advice here will be to leave this to the free market instead of going for central planning. I believe the government will do well if it plays its regulatory functions and provides the enabling environment for the private sector to drive this, including granting the licenses to explore and develop the oil and gas fields. The best approach will be for the state to provide an enabling environment by building an industrial park, with all the required infrastructure, and then bring the gas. Businesses should then be incentivized to take advantage of this, in addition to the several existing incentives that currently abound in the state, thanks to the vision of His Excellency. We would encourage the Nasarawa State government to partner and maximize advantages derivable from the members of the organized private sector in Nigeria to make Nasarawa an oil and gas hub. During this infant stage, the private sector often leads the exploration and production efforts. These private companies will invest significant capital in seismic surveys, drilling operations, and extraction technologies to locate and extract oil and gas reserves. Similarly, the private sector can also invest in the infrastructure development to support Nasarawa's oil and gas activities. This includes building pipelines, storage facilities, and networks to transport crude oil and natural gas from production sites to market. By investing in infrastructure, private companies will facilitate the efficient flow of oil and gas resources, contributing to the development of Nasarawa's energy sector. Furthermore, Nigeria is blessed with several sources of energy. This country is blessed with crude oil, natural gas, coal, sugar, and even huge heaps of rice husks, which can be converted into alternative energy. However, the opportunity to use gas as a source of energy leads to a cleaner environment. It produces less carbon dioxide than automotive gas, low-poor fuel oil, and coal, among others. In the quest to solve the energy challenges, many manufacturers have resorted to alternatives, such as building captive power stations. These power stations depend on fuels like automatic gas oil, low-poor fuel oil, and coal, but do not come cheap and eat into the revenue of companies. At Dangote Group, we have built captive power stations on all our plants. given the unstable supply of electricity from the national grid. These power plants run solely on gas and provide uninterrupted power supply to our factories. Our operations have been sustained at these plants because we have our own source of power. Furthermore, as part of our zero carbon objective, we have embraced the conversion of our fleet to CNG-powered trucks. Having successfully converted more than a third of our more than 15,000 trucks in an ongoing process at our local conversion/assembly plant in Ikorodu. On a final note, let me state that we are confident that this summit will support His Excellency's laudable dream of sustainable industrialization in Nasarawa and Nigeria. With this oil exploration coupled with other investments and the Dangote sugar production coming on stream, we can conclude that Nasarawa State will not only become an economic giant in Nigeria, but in the whole of Africa. I therefore want to, on behalf of the Dangote Group, heartily congratulate Governor Abdullahi Sile, his cabinet, and the people of Nasarawa State for this discovery and for this summit. Long live the people of Nasarawa State, and long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Can we give a rousing round of applause? Today is the 16th day of May in the year 2024. You have heard the prediction from Dangote Industries that Nasarawa State will sooner than later become an economic giant. Not in Nigeria, in Africa. We would like to thank Hajia Fatima for your very kind words. Thank you so very much. She's the special advisor to the group president of Dangote Group. And as you know, the Dangote Group are those who actually deal with the mechanics of planning and execution, so nothing really happens with them per chance. They're very meticulous in what they do. I'd like to let you know that Nasarawa State is a state of triple threat, triple advantage. They call our state, they call Nasarawa State the home of solid minerals. But then the future of Nasarawa State will be shaped not just by solid minerals, but also agriculture, because the state is a state of, is a food basket. And as we're discussing oil and gas, you know again that this would be very prominent in the future of Nasarawa State. We also have human resource and capital and people, a rich palette of talents, and the finest brains in the country. I'd like to recognize the presence of Dr. Faisal Shoaib, the SWAL Executive Secretary, CEO of the National Primary Healthcare Agency, a son of the soil. I would like to very, very specially recognize the presence of our first indigenous Vice Chancellor of the Nasarawa State University, Professor Saadatu Hassan Liman. I would also like to let you know that not only do we empower our ladies here, we hold them aloft and make sure that the women of Nasarawa State wave the banner of brilliance. We also have a head, thank you. I should say more about ladies actually, because this kind of applause is, well, Nasarawa State also has a head of service. That's a lady, a very beautiful lady. She's there. She is Barrister Abigail Wire. At the time when other states were trying very hard to catch up with Nasarawa State, we even gave the first secretary to the government of Nasarawa State then, Dr. Zainab. But right now, we have Barrister Ali Ubanduma, who is he's the secretary to the government. I'd like to recognize all of you and like to tell you that, please, come to Nasarawa State. Make a life. Plant your business. Make a living. Forget all these other states. We are no longer among the top 3 competitive states. This is the best state for you to actually settle, grow your family, and grow your business. I've finished my marketing. Can we give me a round of applause? Thank you very much. I'd now like to call on Moses Duku, Greenville. Yes, yes, yes. And this is evidence of what is happening in Nasarawa State. Greenville success story. Would like to call Moses Duku to tell you how Nasarawa State government, under the stewardship of Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, have brought oil and gas, and it's already thriving. His business, he'll tell you how it's located right here in Lafayette. So much more can actually be happening with your business.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi Sule, members of the National Assembly present, members of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly present, the Deputy Speaker, our highly distinguished and respected traditional rulers, our fathers, captains of industry, the MD of NASIDA, my friend Abdullahi, my professional colleague, and I want to take the opportunity to acknowledge the team, the study team of the NIPR. These are my elders and leaders. I'm a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, and Professor Dandara is the chairman of the Education Advisory Board. And I tell you, for us to qualify and be inducted as fellows, he grilled us like a grinding machine. And he's the son of the soil. Thank you, sir, for being here. Thank you. Members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, I bring the goodwill message of Edivard Dembroeke, my chairman, who wanted to be here and insisted that because he couldn't be here, he's a little bit indisposed, that I have to be here. We've been here since yesterday, and we are continuing. It's our delight that we're here. Thank you, sir. I'm honored to address you today on behalf of Greenville LNG on the occasion of the Nasarawa State Investment Summit 2024, and with particular regard to our liquefied and compressed natural gas project. Greenville LNG represents the culmination of years of transformative efforts within the oil and gas sector, commencing with our establishment in 2013. Having said that, we are an oil and gas company. I think it's significant for me to mention or restate, it has been said before, that Nasarawa State is now an oil and gas state in Nigeria, and we know what that means. Thank you. It's very good to clap. Thank you. Since our inception, Greenville LNG has been at the forefront of innovation, reshaping the landscape of energy accessibility in Nigeria, notably our installation of 3 gas liquefaction trains at our Rumuji plant in Rivers State. We are also onto the 4th train right now to produce more LNG and CNG for the country, particularly for the areas without pipelines. Your Excellency, in 2019, we introduced a revolutionary approach to the virtual gas pipeline when we purchased the first set of 500 LNG-powered trucks and brought into Nigeria. And we are bringing more. Now we have LNG trucks, LNG-powered trucks that can run 1,200 to 1,800 kilometers at a stretch without the need to refuel. And a very interesting part is that our LNG trucks, one will carry the equivalent of 6 CNG trucks. And then when we get to base, like here, I will come to that, we regasify, because it's compressed. We regasify and we put out. But I'll tell you something more interesting, technologically speaking. When we go to our plant in Rumuji and we load LNG from the natural gas is different from the LNG and the CNG. When we load the equivalents into those 6 trucks, 600 trucks of natural gas. That's what the engineers tell me. Now, we take 6 trucks of LNG to the north. We take 6 trucks of LNG to the north, and we regasify and put as CNG. The benefit is that we save our roads, the pressure and the volumes. We save the roads, and our roads will last a whole lot longer. So that brings me to our presence in Lafia, Nasarawa State. We now have the first of its kind LNG CNG station here in Lafia. We are commissioning it. In a matter of weeks, if not within a week. That tells you the importance we place on our strategic business development concerning Nasarawa State. Your Excellency, I have the word of my chairman to tell you that Greenville LNG is here to stay. He thanks you very much for providing the land for us to do our station here. And he says the future energy of Nigeria and Nasarawa is with the Greenville initiative. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Greenville Liquefied Natural Gas LNG Limited pioneered the production and distribution of liquefied natural gas for domestic use within Nigeria, using an innovative virtual pipeline system for supply of gas to all the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. Greenville LNG is a one-stop solution providing LNG as fuel for industry's transportation and gas to power, simply enabling access to reliable energy for the future. We at Greenville LNG are the pioneers and the only player in the market with the requisite infrastructure to produce LCNG in the domestic market for auto, power, and industrial use. Greenville LNG aims to develop 25 hubs for the distribution of CNG to the fuel stations across Nigeria. Gas hubs are essential to facilitate usage of LCNG in the face of non-availability of pipeline infrastructure in the gas-starved central and northern Nigeria. Through Greenville Virtual Pipeline System, LNG will be transported to these hubs located at strategic locations where it will be converted to CNG for further distribution to CNG daughter stations. Each LNG hub will cater to CNG retail demand of 30 daughter CNG stations in a geographical radius of 200 kilometers, with each station retaining approximately 5 to 20 tons of CNG per day. A typical gas hub will comprise of the following facilities. 1. An LNG storage facility. Number 2. CNG for bulk loading in cascades. Number 3. LNG bulk loading points for SMEs. Number 4. A warehouse that will be used for the conversion of trucks as well as kekes. Number 5. Power plant. Number 6. Administrative block. Hubs will act as a multi-product microeconomic center for that region. It will have LNG storage tanks, along with a regasification system. Compression facility will convert gas into compressed form at approximately 200 to 250 bar. The LCNG will be filled into the mobile cascades for bulk distribution to CNG stations. These gas hubs will also provide access to LNG for all SMEs and large industries in the region, leading to speedy industrialization and development of the remote areas away from gas pipeline. LNG and CNG can serve as substitutes for PMS and gas oil consumption by 15 to 20%. These hubs can be found in various locations such as Rumuji, Kaduna, Shagamu, Gombe, Calabar, Nasarawa, Kebbi, Sokoto, Uri, Enugu, Abakaliki, Asaba, Benin, Lokoja, Ilorin, Makurdi, Abuja, Mina, Jos, Maiduguri, Akure, Ibadan, and Katsina, etc. One Greenville LNG truck has the capacity to carry LNG equivalent to 6 CNG trucks in terms of pressure and volume. The development of these hubs will establish centralized locations for efficient and effective distributions, which will contribute to the reduction of traffic congestion by decreasing the number of tanker trucks on the road, leading to a decrease in accidents and other safety hazards associated with gas transportation. This will additionally reduce the cost of transporting gas in a cost-effective manner by promoting economic growth and development. With these gas hubs, the government will be able to save billions of dollars in foreign exchange, while at the same time making the price of the fuel more competitive. In addition, the development of these hubs will necessitate the much desired energy security for the nation with alternative transportation fuel of low carbon emission. This development is in sync with the strategy of the new government to promote and expand CNG network across the length and breadth of Nigeria, considering that CNG is safer, efficient, economical, and most importantly, eco-friendly. These, besides many other benefits CNG has over conventional fuel. LNG produces 40% less carbon dioxide than coal and 30% less than oil, which makes it the cleanest of the fossil fuel. In line with the FGN's policy on CO2 emission reduction, as contained in the Agreement on Climate Goals approved by the United Nations, the use of LNG and CNG is a key driver in promoting an eco-friendly environment and achieving the nation's climate goals. Following the Paris Agreement on reducing GHG/CO2 emission and the Doha Amendment of Kyoto Protocol to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate, UNFCCC, which Nigeria is a signatory to, the use of LNG and CNG is a major factor in propagating an eco-friendly environment. The distribution of CNG through these gas hubs will provide a more economical alternative to the use of conventional fuel by an estimated 2 million keke napep riders across Nigeria, thus strengthening and increasing their economic power, that of their families and dependents. In addition, this will immensely help in cushioning the impact on the public at large necessitated by the reversal of fuel subsidy. It will as well help end the search for a more affordable fuel by keke napep, light commercial vehicles, and passenger vehicle owners, thereby rapidly improving the socio-economic growth of the nation. Industry players, manufacturers in Nigeria in general, can now give a sigh of relief as the key to cleaner and more economical energy is here with us. Greenville LNG, reliable energy for the future.
Thank you. Now, speaking about goodwill messages, we'd like to take a goodwill message from a representative of Ganfeng Lithium Industry Limited. Please welcome Cheng Cheng.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First of all, it's my honor to speak on behalf of Director Mr. Chen Qiang of Ganfeng Lithium Industry Limited. I'm Henry, the project manager of the beneficiation factory, which is under construction as scheduled in Nasarawa local government area. On behalf of Ganfeng Lithium Industry Limited and Director Mr. Chen Qiang himself, I want to extend my most sincere gratitude to Tianjin government for their support to the mining industry, as well as our full and strong support to His Excellency the Governor, to the Nasarawa state government for successfully organizing this imposing and magnificent investment promotion event. And full support and help rendered to Ganfeng Lithium Industry Limited by them. Our company is making big investment in the construction of a gigantic and magnificent factory with an annual processing capacity of 2 million cubic tons of raw materials and a large thermal power plant in Nasarawa local government. After the beneficiation factory is completed and put into operation in the second half of this year, 2024, 2,000 local people will be employed and the tax revenue will be increased for both the federal government and the local government as well. We will actively publicize and promote the preferential policies of the state government to attract more high quality and influential foreign investors for Nasarawa state, and we will organize skill training for local employees. We will also actively fulfill our corporate social responsibilities for our host community and exclusively, support the mining industry and agricultural industry as well. The company will help to build a school and a hospital for Nasarawa local government within the next 2 years, and we will empower the development of local host community and make our due contribution to improving the livelihood and the living standard of the local people of the host community. Once again, I want to extend my most heartfelt and sincere appreciations to His Excellency Governor and his team for tremendous support and help rendered to the company Ganfang Lithium Industry Limited. By them, I also hope to continue to get support and help from different departments of Nasarawa State as well as always. And for sure, we promise as a company, we will try our best and spare no efforts to cooperate with the Nasarawa state government in all aspects. Finally, thank you so much. Finally, it is our sincere hope that our company will deeply take root in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and we will continue to grow and progress together with the local people and the local community as well, and make our due contribution for the development and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is my sincere hope that the relationship between Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Republic of China will become better and better and yield fruitful and tangible profits and results. I will promote, I sincerely hope that investment promotion investment event will be a complete success. May God bless us, bless Nigeria's, Republic of Nigeria, bless the Nasarawa state, bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria as well. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chen Chiang. Thank you so much for the goodwill message. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the Energy Business Roundtable. Now let me quickly mention, this is such an important segment, an important panel discussion. So important that on this session, we have representatives from different spaces. So the different stakeholders are represented. We have the private sector being represented on this discussion. We have the public sector being represented by the #1 person in this state, in Nasarawa State. I'm talking about the governor of Nasarawa State. And it might interest you, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to know that His Excellency, the governor of Nasarawa State, His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, has over 30 years of experience in oil and gas, spanning different continents. As a matter of fact, His Excellency was a one-time managing director of African Petroleum. So I'm particularly excited to hear his perspective on this discussion. Also on this discussion, we have development finance institutions represented. So truly, this is going to be a rich discourse. So I'd like to invite you, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to be generous with your applause as I welcome to the stage the speakers on this segment, because they've graciously accepted our invitation to share their thoughts and perspective. So, if you're in support of applauding them generously, please say aye. If you're not in support, say nay. The ayes have it. So we're going to applaud them generously. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, I'll begin by welcoming to the stage the chair of this session. Please welcome a partner at Olaniwun Ajayi LP, Ibi Ogumbiyi. A round of applause. Also on this segment, on this discussion, we're truly honored to have His Excellency, the Governor of Nasarawa State. Please welcome Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule. You're welcome, Your Excellency. So His Excellency is wearing different hats on this discussion, and we look forward to him sharing his perspectives. We also have on this discussion the Vice Chairman, Power Gas Group. Please welcome Pulak Sen. Just to remind you that we agreed that we'll be generous with our applause, so it continues to get louder. Thank you. We also have on this discussion the CEO, Eternal Abiola Lawal. A round of applause. Also, on this panel, we have Engineer Farouk Ahmed, Authority of Chief Executive, NMDPRA. He's represented by Dr. Mustafa Lamod, ED, HSCC, NMDPRA. A round of applause. And we also have on this panel, Eric Moncho Intong, Regional COO and Head of Mission for Anglophone West Africa at Afrexim Bank. He's represented by Mr. Peter Adeshola Olowononi, Head Client Relations, Anglophone West Africa at Afrexim Bank. I now hand over to the panel chair.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. It is my honor and privilege to be here today. I will stand on existing protocols as I welcome all dignitaries and VIPs to this occasion. On this morning, I have as my eminent panelists, very, very dignified and esteemed panelists indeed. And to get our conversation going, I would just like to provide some context to what we're talking about. Our panel is titled Gas to Industry, Powering the Nasarawa Industrialization Agenda. And I just wanted to provide with a few slides, if they can just put up the slides very, very quickly, just context for our discussion this morning. I don't know if it's Arrow? Okay. Not yet. Okay, as we're waiting for the slides to go up, the key thing to note is that Nasarawa is the beneficiary of a number of events and developments that have brought us to a place where gas development is critical, both internationally and locally. And there are a number of global and local trends that have resulted in those developments. The first thing to note is that globally, there's an increased demand for more sustainable and environmentally friendly sources of energy. And that because of the damage to, the clamor for climate change and the importance of ensuring that we have a planet that is available to service generations to come, this clamor has increased globally. Also on the global stage, you also have a situation where disruptions in the gas supply value chain have also led to states rethinking their gas supply, their energy mixes, and the way they look at their energy supply. And that has brought gas into the forefront. On the local plane, here in Nigeria, we're given the Energy Transition Plan, which states the 30-year trajectory for how Nigeria transits to a net zero emission scenario, you have gas being at the front and center of our transition plan and has been identified as the transition fuel. And in that sense, it means that we're moving from the more fossilized forms of fuel into more cleaner and sustainable forms of energy. And gas has been seen as the compromise in transiting to a more sustainable form of energy. And towards that, gas has been identified as being relevant for industry, for cooking, and for power, right? Also on the local plane, another of the developments that are quite instrumental to our discussion today is the fact that the Electricity Act was recently passed, and part of the Electricity Act is that states would have control over the generation, distribution, and transmission of electricity. So it has been decentralized, and states now can have active and front and center involvement in how power is generated, distributed, and transmitted. And that also provides a platform for which gas can be utilized, like I mentioned, from the Energy Transition Plan as a fodder for gas to power projects. Lastly, also on the local scale, on the federal government level, we have seen a lot of focus and commitment and consistency from the federal government in passing a lot of policies, initiatives, and regulations towards incentivizing investments in gas infrastructure development. And so you have the NMDPRA has passed a slew of regulations from last year. You also have the passage of the the PIA, which has also put gas development at its core focus and to incentivize investments in gas development. So those are some of the local and international trends that are very relevant to our discussions today. So very quickly, let's move to opportunities for gas projects in Nasarawa. What does all this mean in Nasarawa State? Recently, it has been mentioned, there's been discovery of oil and gas reserves in Nasarawa, which shows you that there's potential for associated gas, right? There's the development of the AKK pipeline, which will move from Ajaokuta through Kaduna to Kano and will move through Abuja as well, proximal to Nasarawa. And then the key question will be, how does that translate into the development of gas projects in Nasarawa, which we will discuss on this panel as well. Now, given the decentralization option, Nasarawa has the opportunity to also create its own electricity market and therefore direct policy towards gas to power IPPs within the state. There's also the opportunity to have gas to industry projects for the development of petrochemicals, fertilizer projects. There's also the opportunity to have CNG projects like we saw earlier. So all these are quite instrumental. Now, what are the challenges? The opportunities are not without challenges, and my panelists, I will discuss with them some of these challenges: access to finance, lack of pipeline infrastructure, the difficulty with getting the right bankable contracts, and so on and so forth, and we'll discuss that. So in terms of what the real opportunities are for Nasarawa State, my thinking is that we can have gas industrial parks, gas hubs. We already see Greenville being active in Nasarawa State. We can also have gas to power projects, gas IPPs, and CNG projects and all the like. So there's quite a lot of potential here. So very quickly, I'm going to move to His Excellency. And His Excellency, thank you very much for joining this panel. I would like you to share your vision with the whole. We have the national industrialization agenda. What is your vision for gas? What is the state prepared to do to incentivize private sector participation and investment in the gas sector in Nasarawa? Bearing in mind what Alhaji Dangote said in his remarks, that the most ideal structure is for government to sit back, let private capital come in and do what it knows how to do best, while the state just creates an enabling framework and environment. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you very much, chairperson of this panel. That's the disadvantage of having a very experienced chairman. The chairman has already answered all the questions we are going to ask. So I don't know I don't know if we have any more to say, but thank you very much, Chairperson. You have actually identified most of the issues. Number one is the fact that we need to understand that Nigeria is indeed a gas country rather than even an oil country, because Nigeria is one country that has over 200 trillion standard cubic feet of gas as a reserve, only 40 billion barrels of oil. So now for us in Nasarawa State coming home, the discovery of oil that we just had, the drilling operation actually started in March last year, and they are still carrying out the drilling. Part of the challenges they are facing is that they came across gas too early, and I think NMPC is the right people who are even going to mention this. I just had their helicopter now arriving, so they are the right people to say that. But by having that kind of gas challenge, it now exposed Nasarawa to the advantage and the disadvantage. The disadvantage on the part of the oil drilling company is that they hit gas too early, and it makes it a little difficult for them for their drilling operation. For us as a state, it's an advantage that it means that we have abundance of gas here in Nasarawa State, which is a good thing for us and a good thing for Nigeria. Now, going back to the challenges that you mentioned, now, why was it that some 20 years ago that we have was actually flared, was thrown away, was just taken and wasted? But today, because with the LNG, all the other, the Greenville of the world, and all the other presenters, we can see that we are using majority of the gas, and we are exporting gas, and we have several trends now for our LNG lines. So when you mention the challenge, I think the biggest challenge is the usage. So we need to do a lot of education of our people to understand the utilization of gas, to know that gas is even better than oil, and gas is cheaper than oil, and gas is more friendly to the environment than oil. I think once people agree to buy that, then we have crossed the first stage. Then we have to go into the several other stages that you are mentioning. The issue of the funding will always come if there is opportunity. Talking about opportunity, let me in fact use this opportunity to announce it. We have been very transparent in Nasarawa State as far as whatever we do. When the team came together to say they were going to plan this event, the budget for it was roughly about 150 million naira. Now, they raised about 150 million on their own from the various sponsors, and let me thank the sponsors for that. So Nasarawa State government only put forward 35 million. Now, just a few minutes ago, you saw the Chinese investors, the Ganfen that came to see us. When they came, they told me that they had not yet given their own sponsorship, and they want to give their own sponsorship. So I was asking them in Chinese. For some of you who don't understand Chinese, I was asking them, and I said, so how much do you want to give? So the gentlemen are seated right there. They told me that we want to give 100 million for this particular purpose. So when they told me that, they said, go ahead, and I told them that we only need 35 million to make it up because they already have 115. They said, no, they want to still give 100 million. So I said, okay, Ibrahim can take his 35 million, and the remaining 65 million will be handed over back to the government. That means the Nasarawa State government has actually benefited and made profit, from having this particular event. And I think that's the way it's supposed to be. So I think that's the direction that we are going. So as a people, we try as much as possible, to carry on. I do understand the NMPC had a lot of challenges with the weather. But we thank God, finally they are here. As I was telling you that they were having, I had the helicopter. When I had the helicopter, I know that they are now here now. So I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I think we will talk some more, when we get to the real subject. But yes, there are challenges, but the biggest challenge, as we know, is actually, like it's mentioned, the lines themselves, the pipelines. These pipelines are dedicated. So for us in Nasarawa, even if we want to use the gas, the AKK line does not go through Nasarawa. So the closest we can tap, which we have agreed to tap, is actually to tap it from Abaji, and that's the direction that we are going. So that's why I say once you know where you are going, then you know. And we don't have majority of the industries, yes, in Nasarawa State. We are just developing the industry. Once these industries come on shape, you will hear that. You heard what Dangote said earlier. Dangote said today he's generating his power in all his plants, 100% by gas, And locally, Obajana, which is the biggest cement plant in the country and perhaps in Africa, is sitting right very close to the AKK line because of the Ajaokuta steel plant. So that's why it was very easy for us in Obajana to draw the line. Because I had Hajia when she was reading Alaji's speech, Alaji was mentioning that I was part of the Dangote group. I'm still part of the Dangote group. So for that reason, when I'm talking, I will say we. So I will say we there. When I come to Nasarawa, then I can say we in Nasarawa. So thank you for giving me the opportunity, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you. And your response dovetails very nicely into the question I wanted to ask the next panelist, Engineer Ahmed of the MDPRA. So we have the AKK pipeline close to Nasarawa, but not quite close enough. Engineer Ahmed, I'd like to understand, how do you see a pipeline connection between the AKK pipeline coming into Nasarawa, and then what are your views around the existing regulations we have now for gas pipeline development, and do you think they're adequate for any development in that area in relation to the AKK pipeline and bringing it into Nasarawa?
Thank you, Chair. Excellency, sir, sitting on existing protocol. I would first of all like to put some things into perspective. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is the agency that regulates both technical, commercial, and operational activities within the midstream and downstream value chain. We do that, we are empowered and mandated by the PIA. We've gazetted, as you said, a number of regulations. We've gazetted 16 regulations, and we're still, working on a number of regulations. The pipeline regulation is one of them. And we're talking about gas today. 5 of those regulations gazetted are gas-based. But I just want to also put the value chain into context, and in that respect, I'll be also answering your question. So we work with our sister regulator, which is the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, to get the domestic gas demand obligation. So if you move through the value chain within the midstream, we process the gas. You have to process the gas, and in processing the gas, you have to get the gas processing license. Once the gas is processed, you also have to transport the gas, whether through pipelines or virtually, like the Greenville is doing. If you are doing it through pipeline, you need the gas transportation pipeline license. The GCN is here. You need the gas aggregator license to. And for the PIA has encouraged open access. You also need for the network code. But on the commercial aspect, you now need the gas wholesale supply license. So once this gas moves through the value chain, and within the value chain, you can supply this gas to IPPs, eventually GBIs, gas-based industries, and also mini LNGs, where you also need a retail outlet. But once we get this to the city gate, like what the AKK will offer to us, there will be custody transfer. And now you are within the distribution space, and you also need the gas distribution license. To do that, to go into the retail stage, you need to have adequate retail infrastructure system. Like your LPG bottling system, the CNG compression, LPG regasification, and all that. So there are a number of processes in terms of licenses that you need to do to get that. In terms of you need your LTE, your license to establish, license to construct, and then license to operate. The authority is always there. Everything is computerized. We have the automated gas system where you can be able to apply for this. And His Excellency has already mentioned that the closest, station when it comes to tapping into the AKK is the Abaji station. There's also another one in Kogi State. I think it's called Osenseni. These are two clear for Nasarawa State, to tap into it. But then you need pipeline, to construct. It comes to now we're talking about infrastructure. And one of the key challenges we have in the gas sector is there's a huge wide, gap when it comes to infrastructural development. So we need to bridge that. In the authority, the NMDPRA, we have a directorate called the Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund. Is there to de-risk and co-invest. So Nasarawa State to partner with the MDGIF and access the fund. We'll be able to we'll provide the license and we'll facilitate the license for the pipeline and other key, both distribution.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ahmed. Thank you. And your response has outlined the gas value chain and the different pressure points and different licenses that needs to be done in order to get gas to the last mile. And I think the recurrent theme is that funding is required. This is extremely capital intensive for gas to be able to be processed, for it to be distributed and transported all along the gas value chain. Significant capital is required. Which takes me to my next panelist from Afrexim, Mr. Peter. Apologies, I missed your surname. Yes. So you are at the heart of the industrialization, the realization of that agenda for Nasarawa State, DFIs like your good selves. And the concern is that in more recent times, a lot of DFIs have taken the stance that they will no longer be funding. So it would be useful to know what is Afrexim's position and in terms of financing, gas projects in Nasarawa State or anywhere in Nigeria, as it were. Thank you. Mic isn't on.
Okay. Your Excellency, good morning, sir. I bring you greetings from the President of the African Export-Import Bank, Professor Benedict Oramah. And Chair, to answer your question directly, Afrexim Bank, as some may know, was created as a child of necessity during the president of the African Development Bank to create Afrexim Bank as a bank to intervene. So the bank cannot pull back in mining, exploiting, and monetizing the huge hydrocarbon reserves that God has endowed the continent with. And that is why, more than ever before, you would have seen that the bank's presence in the energy landscape, in the interventions that we have been doing lately, has actually tripled. We're in Indorama. We're the single largest lender on the Dangote refinery. We're in financing almost all the upstream operators in Nigeria. NMPC is one of our biggest partners in the country. So we believe that Africa must monetize its energy resources to bridge the energy gap. And until that deficit is closed, that is when we can begin to talk about energy transition. We believe in energy transition, but we say it has to be done in an equitable and just manner. When the AKK pipeline, for example, we are financing alongside Fidelity Bank, financing the main contractor, one of the main contractors, Oilsev, who has been, so we finance the import of those pipes, which are then welded and tied together to continue to lay the pipes. So in every respect, the financing gap for that project is huge. And so what we are doing is to find partners who believe in Africa's energy prosperity, more importantly in Africa's energy security, because until we have our own control around our energy, we cannot develop. Our industries cannot come through, as His Excellency have said. This state is blessed with mining resources, is blessed with agricultural resources, but until the requisite industries come in, and these industries will need power, and the future of power has to be gas-driven, right? So we see that until that gap is bridged, Afrexim Bank cannot pull back. So it's a clear statement of fact for us that we are not only going to finance the midstream and downstream infrastructure, because by the time the demand surges for gas consumption, then there may be a problem on the upstream with actual gas production, which we are seeing already. Right, like Train 7, the conversations are going on, there has to be a boost in gas supply. So we have to even go upstream to look at the marginal field which have just bid round has been completed. The operators, the indigenous...
The infrastructure and industrialization deficit on the continent and the need to continue to support those projects until a time comes when we can seriously begin to look at energy transition. Thank you very much. So I come now to the private sector, those who are on the field, who are daily risking capital, to fund these projects. And I will turn to the MD of Eterna, on the panel, and ask you, maybe you should just tell us how has it been so far? You're an oil and gas conglomerate, to put it mildly, and you have been investing in oil and gas projects. What would it take? What are those incentives that would make you bring your capital into Nasarawa if a gas development framework was put in place? What are those things that you need to see? What are those challenges that need to be overcome to incentivize your investment in gas in Nasarawa State?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me start by congratulating the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Sule, and his team for putting together a wonderful summit so far. So I think we should put a round of applause for them. Thank you. You've been a good host. To answer your question directly, again, I should say, before I go to details of the answer, I also bring goodwill from the chairman of our company, the board, and certainly all our employees. Eterna has been in business for over 35 years. We have investments all over the Northeast and North Central as well. We have stations and investment on the ground in Nasarawa. In fact, when you come out of the State House, I'm sure you'll notice a major petrol station that is selling PMS and all the other products all the time. So at Eterna, we say energy for life. And so we relate and look forward to partnering with Nasarawa as a state. To go back to your question directly, I see there are three critical success factors that's required to be successful in this energy transition or energy to industrialization, as you mentioned. And I put it within the context of all investors. I know sometimes we focus on the foreign investors, but investors are generally the same in terms of rationality. It's about return on investment and making sure the environment is right. So three things that I will mention is critical for success in this journey. Number one, leadership. And when I say leadership, I mean effective leadership. There's a saying that vision plus action provide success and results. But vision minus action is just a dream. One of the things that I'm extremely proud and encouraged to associate with Nasarawa under the leadership of Governor Sule is that it's a pro-business governor. That is critical and very important. Not only him, the team he has put together is clearly showing us that Nasarawa is open for business. Like I said, you can have all the vision in Africa within a matter of few years and want to play in that value chain. So I think, so that is it. That leadership and that consistency is the most important driver for us in terms of seeing results. The second one is the policy environment. What kind of policies are being made? Of course, there's a derivative of number two, which starts from the leadership again, right? The infrastructure of governance, from the legislature to the enabling environment of laws, task fiscal regime. There has to be clarity to investors so that when we bring our investment in, there will not be policy somersault, which is why it's also critical for any subnational, even the national level, that this kind of critical transition and investment is actually embedded in the law. And I like what the governor is doing in that regard. Number three, and I think this is one that everybody knows is a critical deficit, not just in Nasarawa, but across Nigeria and many parts of Africa, which is infrastructure. infrastructure across the board. And I will actually start infrastructure not from physical, but in terms of security architecture. Businesses cannot thrive where they are scared about the safety of their employees. So we have to ensure that the right security environment is in place. And it's glad to know that Nasarawa has done a good job there. The second infrastructure is what we all relate to, power. I think the speaker from AfroExim had mentioned something along that line. Power has to be front and critical in terms of how we put enabling environment together. When we say enabling environment, when you go to most of the other climes, which I also think is important, is the whole connectivity. The world is a global place today. And I think it's important for us to use technology to achieve a lot. I think, again, it can, by the kind of interaction we've seen in this summit so far, you will see there are people from all over Nigeria as well as all over the world. That means Nasarawa is doing something well in terms of the need to put the right data, the right information in the hands of investors. Investors need information. Big data is king. We're talking about artificial intelligence and all of that. Artificial intelligence doesn't work without the right data that we can use to evaluate and look at our investment over a long time period. So overall, I will commend the governor. I think it's the right part, and look forward to more engagement with Nasarawa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Lawal. I think you've hit the nail on the head about those incentives and imperatives that the private sector requires. And you've touched on a number of things that I'm going to come back to His Excellency on. But one important thing, which takes me to Mr. Pulaksen of Power Gas. Mr. Lawal has mentioned the criticality of power to any industrialization process. Power is the heart. Power is what you need to galvanize industrialization. And I know that your company, Power Gas, has been doing quite a bit in doing gas-to-power projects, with CNG projects. I think you have about 5 IPPs right now being powered by CNG, or maybe more. So I want you to speak about that, the potential for having gas to power, given the criticality of power to industrialization, and what opportunities do you see for yourselves and companies like yours in Nasarawa, the industrialization agenda?
John? Your Excellencies, Madam Chair, and esteemed guests, good morning from Power Gas. So I would say two minutes or a minute about Power Gas, and then address why even Power Gas is here and what we are looking forward to. So we are actually a virtual gas company supplying gas, whether in 2 plants, again, captive power plants and factories for their power process, and of recent with the federal government initiatives in the NGV sector. We started way back 11 years, started with a small plant. We take small steps, but we deliver. And now we have grown and we are present in 5 different states. We have got plants located even in areas where it's a gas well itself, and we have participated at the plant, at the site, apart from pipeline gas, etc. So we are basically in the downstream and midstream. We have grown into a fairly large CNG company in Nigeria with over 200 tube skids, which deliver across Nigeria, mostly in the south and the east, but with some initiatives from the federal government, from GSEN, from NMPC, we have now expanded our footprint and our strategy for gas to the north. Typically, CNG investment is smaller, a shorter gestation. It takes turnaround. We do normally within 6-7 months a CNG plant. But as earlier mentioned on the massive pipeline infrastructure investment in terms of their planning, execution, and actual reality of happening, we are there as a catalyst in the meantime to start supplying the gas. So we in Nasarawa state are looking forward to enabling environment where for smaller, medium, or even an industrial park, if we can make CNG available. Luckily for us, that in the decade of gas, the federal government has some initiatives, including the feedstock gas price, which make it sort of affordable or commercially viable for us to be even from Abuja, Nasarawa area. So we look forward to that. And anything that I didn't address?
Yes, what are your plans? Do you have any plans in
Our vision currently is gas to the north. Vision currently is an enabling environment. We take small steps, but we deliver. And our turnaround normally 6 to 9 months. And we address smaller clients, you know, a large LNG plant or a setup which require more investment need not be for a CNG setup. Having said that, the demand for gas in Nigeria is so huge, there is room for all, and every one of us to join hands to supply the gas demand to the client. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you. So there you have it. The regulator is ready to support with the issuance of licenses and all the regulatory support required, and they've even offered funding. Afrexim has reiterated its commitment to funding viable gas projects despite the clamor for climate change. We also have people in the private sector saying that they are also ready to invest in the Nasarawa industrialization agenda as long as there's an enabling environment. So, Your Excellency, in rounding up, I come back to you to ask you, sir, what specifically should investors be looking to in Nasarawa State? Because they've both mentioned fiscal incentives, stability in regulation, although, to be fair, a number of a significant portion of oil and gas regulation is done at the federal level. But it'd be good to know at the state level what Nasarawa State is ready to do to create that enabling environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. And let me recap this way, honestly. First and foremost, as we mentioned earlier, the whole idea of bringing this kind of event and bringing all the people from Nasarawa State who will be able is to take advantage of the situation. When we brought all these investors, the idea is to see that what is Nasarawa State offering and what is Nasarawa State going to give. So for us, from what you have heard since yesterday, is the fact that we want this actually to have your return on investment. We in the issue, you have the suppliers here, you have those, I was very happy to see the video about Greenview, and then we have Greenview right here in Lafayette because they are just going to commission here in that. So if I'm somebody from Nasarawa State, I want to go into the oil and gas, instead of building a petrol station, I would rather go and build a CNG station right now, because by you doing that, then you are opening up the opportunities, for other people, to come and do. But I'm sure by the time the GMD of NMPC delivers his speech, we will be able to get to understand that. But I'm really looking forward, just like we are signing those deals, like we signed the one yesterday with the League Group. I want to see somebody from Nasarawa, a local company, signing a deal for us, behind closed doors here. Honorable member of National Assembly, with all the money you have, don't take that money to go and do something. Set up a business here, and the gas companies, and it doesn't take much. It's not too much money that you set up some of these businesses, but more importantly, you have institutions that are willing to fund and to support you. So I thank you very much, Chair. We will provide the atmosphere for the people.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, personally, I don't think it gets more passionate, sincere, or authentic than what you just heard. The number one citizen of Nasarawa has told you his government's commitment to supporting you. So we're all looking forward to welcoming you to investing in the oil and gas industry in Nasarawa State. Thank you very much. As we round up, we have just a few minutes left. I will take closing remarks from each of my panelists, starting with Mr. Peter of Afrexim. Thank you. The last, Mr. Yes.
Thank you very much. For me, it's been a pleasure traveling from Abuja to Nasarawa today to be part of this very good and revolutionary investment summit. We believe that until the sub-sovereigns, that's at the state level, begin to do such landmark things, true prosperity will not come to the citizens. The state governments are closer to the people, and when they create economic revolution, the people truly prosper economically. And so we at Afrexim Bank, we recommit ourselves. We are happy to work with different states, private sector investors. At Greenville, for example, we're working with them. I met the Lee company who signed the MOU yesterday. We're going to be having meetings with them to see how can Afrexim Bank support. We are providing project preparation facilities, even where a project is still at development stage and still being conceived. The bank is able to offer up to $3 million to pay credible consultants, legal consultants, financial consultants, technical consultants, to ensure that the project is baked and prepared in a manner that it becomes bankable when presented to a financial institution. So with all of this, the time is ripe for Africa, the time is ripe for Nigeria, and importantly, the time is ripe for a state like Nasarawa, considering the proximity to the Federal Capital Territory, to take advantage of a strategic geographical location to prosper its people. It's a pleasure, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Engineer Ahmed, apologies. Engineer Ahmed.
Thank you very much. The NMPCRA, the regulatory framework, is designed, to support industrialization drive like the one that Nasarawa State is taking. We are very proud to be partners. We do that through efficient and effective operation. We also promote, investment while making sure that the midstream and downstream industry, continues to strive. To all the players within the midstream and downstream space, we would like to say that we have regulatory certainty now. The PIA is here. Our regulation have been gazetted, and all the clear regulatory requirements that you need, the NMDPRA is here to support you. We have an NMDPRA office here in Lafia. So if you want to set up any business for your licensing and permits and approvals, we're here to support you. And to the nation, I just want to talk about one thing before please permit me. We're talking about investment. There's a nexus between energy transition, which is our drive to go to net zero, energy security, which is the balance between supply and demand, and also energy investment, because wherever we need money. So energy investment requires, what we're doing in terms of our drive to be greener. It ticks off the ESG requirements. So with that, I'll say well done to Nasarawa State, and the NMDPRA is your partner in progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ahmed. Mr. Lawal.
Okay. Let me just say that I think it's time for action. I mean, the time for talk is over. The global world is moving ahead, and Nigeria has to be not just part of the conversation, but part of the action. We all know Qatar as a country today. It's industrializing very fast, and arguably the infrastructure base is financed purely by investment in gas. So I think my word of encouragement for us as a country is that we need to stop just throwing big numbers out there. We talk about 200 million people in terms of our population. We need to start harnessing that in terms of competitive advantage, in terms of how we become a greater country. Number two, we talk about gas, obviously, as a big part of our resource base. Nigeria has over almost 40 billion in reserves of crude. But we have over 200 TCF in gas. Again, big numbers, but I think the kind of thing that Governor Sule is doing here is what gets us action-driven, not just words. So whatever G you like, thank you. Whatever G you like in terms of LNG or LPG or whatever G you like, right? let us get back to the process of investing and driving value, not just for the states, but also for our people. Because at the end of the day, I used Qatar as an example earlier. All that infrastructure was driven primarily based on investment in LNG at a higher scale. The world needs gas. I don't think we can just go with the narrative that we should abandon the resource base that we enrich with without security of energy. So gas is big, but we have to get on with it and ensure that enabling environment is there, because at the end of the day, it will always take a combination of the public and private sector to work. I thank you again for having me.
And very well said, Mr. Lawal. Thank you. Mr. Shen, your closing remarks, please.
Yeah, I have just 3 points. One is, of course, enabling environment, which his leadership has confirmed, and we have Nasida to knock the doors. 2 is a concern for all of us. We at Power Gas so far have been dealing with corporate clients. For us, HSE and safety and ESG is very critical. So I would request a regulatory framework, NMDPR, to play a strict role now that we are going into NGV, and NGV means cars with all. So we need some system which works, and the health and safety and regulatory for NMDPR is critical. On the third one, the finance, yes, we all need money, but I'm a little optimist. There's still a lot of infrastructure fund for smaller projects available in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And with that, our time is up. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been our honor and privilege to have this conversation and interact with you this morning. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Can we give them a rousing round of applause? And the photo up, please, for the panel. Thank you so much for such a very illuminating session. We were all really engrossed, and the chair, ventilated this session with. Thank you so very much. In this session, you have heard how Nasarawa State has been complimented for leadership, consistency, and how, of course, the policy environment of Nasarawa State, especially when it comes to ease of doing business, has also been noted and applauded and appreciated. According to the panel, they say that it is the steps being taken by His Excellency's administration, Engineer Abdullahi A. Sulei's administration, that is catapulting and making investors action-driven whenever it comes to Nasarawa State. So thank you for your kind, very constructive words about the investment revolution. Can we give them a rousing round of applause, please? Thank you. Thank you. Would like to let you know that while the session was going on, the panel discussion was going on, we had our team from the NNPCL arrive, and would like to formally recognize their presence. Would like to thank you for making the time. Thank you. Today's energy, gas, entire session actually for the day is really been anchored on the support of the NNPCL. Our Chinese investor who spoke very eloquent English, and you gave him some very warm applause, is again being appreciated for all the very kind words he said and the very big investment that is coming to Nasarawa State. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, a highly esteemed team from the NNPC, the 19th Group Managing Director of the NNPC, who was at one time Nigeria's representative at OPEC, Malam Mele Kyari, is unavoidably absent, but he's here ably represented by none other than the Executive Vice President, Gas, Power and New Energy, Olalekan Ogunleye. Can we please make welcome, give him a very warm applause and thank you so very much. He's representing the group CEO of NLPC Limited, Madam Mele Kyari. And in his company, we have Dr. Salihu Jamari, the Chief Investment Officer, Gas and Power Investment of the NNPC. Would like to welcome you, sir, for coming. And of course, Mr. Kanayo Odo is the Managing Director of NNPC New Energy Limited. And we also have Saadu Garba, who is the business advisor. Would like to welcome you. At this point, it's my singular honor and privilege, therefore, to call for the keynote to be delivered by Olalekan Ogunleye, the Executive Vice President, Gas, Power and New Energy, representing the Group CEO of NNPC, Mele Kyari. Make welcome Olalekan Ogunleye to come present the keynote. You're most warmly welcome to Nasarawa State, sir.
His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi Audu Sule, His Royal Majesty, the Emir of Lafia, distinguished investors and participants in the energy sector, Your Excellency, I crave your indulgence to abide by existing protocol for reasons of exigencies of time. And even though my task is to deliver the keynote address on behalf of the Group Chief Executive of NMPC, Your Excellency and distinguished guests, I crave your indulgence to just make two brief remarks before I go into my keynote address. The first is just to convey the apologies of the Chief Executive Officers of NMPC, Malam Mele Kyari. He had actually planned to be here, he had prepared to be here, and I have to take personal responsibility for his not being here today because at some point yesterday, in the course of the presidential commissioning of 3 gas infrastructure projects, something came up that required him to stay back in Abuja, and he actually struggled. He was in a dilemma, and I was very instrumental in encouraging him to stay back and that I will represent him. So, apologies, Your Excellency. I'm responsible for that, for his not being here today. However, Your Excellency, as you know, and not just you, I think the people of Nasarawa State know that NMPC's relationship with Nasarawa State government, with the people of Nasarawa State, is deep and entrenched. And there are many reasons for this. It's not because His Excellency in his former life is a private sector participant and an energy leader. That's helpful, that's nice. It goes beyond that. It's not because Nasarawa State is endowed with abundant mineral resources and energy resources. We all like that, and I think everybody gets that by now. It's because of three specific reasons. The first is vision. The second is effectiveness. And the third is sustainability. And I'll start with the first. So today, if you ask me, as a non-indigen, that what's going on in Nasarawa State? I know that there is a clear vision. I know that Nasarawa State has a leader, has a government that has decided to take what I can call the difficult way to organically build an economy on a sustainable model. There were other options, of course. I don't want to go into those details. And the governor has done this at a personal cost. He took the hard road, made the difficult decision. So today, if you ask me, it is clear that Nasarawa State has become a hub for not just the mineral resources, because we know the mineral resources are there. Nasarawa State has become a hub for agriculture, and Nasarawa State has become a hub for energy. And, to build is difficult. On the 25th of November, 2020, we were here for the gas forum. It was the first Nasarawa State gas forum. So it didn't just start today. It took vision. So in NMPC, we have this same affinity. Under the leadership of the GCO, NMPC has completely reimagined its business. Our focus now is on effectiveness. It's on getting it done. And we see instances and demonstrations of that in Nasarawa State. So we had the gas forum, and then we had the first Nasarawa investment forum. But today, the whole world is seeing the fruits of those initiatives. We have 2 major lithium plants in Nasarawa State today. Nasarawa State is becoming a hub for CNG. Nasarawa State has become an agricultural hub in Nigeria. It's about employment. It's about value creation. And so, in NMPC, we like to say that we've abandoned the PowerPoints. You go to a lot of forums, conferences, summits. People make nice speeches. They dissect the problem. Some people are specialists in identifying the problem. But in Nasarawa State and in NMPC, our focus is on walking the talk, on delivery, on effectiveness, on performance. I want to congratulate the president. I'm not nominating you for presidency, the executive governor and the people of Nasarawa State for the vision, but not just the vision, but for acting on that vision. The third thing is sustainability. It's about future-proofing the state. And so we are at a point today where there is general confidence and comfort that Nasarawa State development is organic. And so it's not by accident that in the course of today, a gas master plan for Nasarawa State is one of the major agendas on the table. In some other states, it's sporadic, but the government gets it. So they've decided, again, to take a structured approach to development. So it's about sustainability and future-proofing the business. My third point is just to acknowledge the people of Nasarawa State. Because we must never forget, governance, leadership, even business, is about the people. And I'm not doing this just for selfish reasons, because my beloved mother-in-law is from Nasarawa State. I'm doing it because in Nasarawa State, we see the energy, we see the passion, we have the resources, and now there's that great convergence. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be here, and I just want to thank this extraordinary audience, and I request that you give a clap for yourself. Thank you very much. It is a great honor to address this esteemed gathering at the second edition of the Nasarawa State Investment Summit. Today, we come together to devise effective strategies to unlock the great opportunities in the energy sector in Nasarawa State, paving the way to unlock the great opportunities in the energy sector in Nasarawa State and creating sustainable economic growth and development in the state and by extension, Nigeria. Undoubtedly, Nasarawa State is blessed with substantial natural gas reserves, a valuable resource with the potential to power industries, drive economic growth, and improve the lives of its citizens. The development of the gas sector presents a unique opportunity to leverage clean energy solutions, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and enhance energy security for the well-endowed state and indeed the nation. NMPC Limited is fully committed to partnering with the government of Nasarawa State and other private sector participants to leverage the virtually unlimited capacity of gas to drive economic growth. This we have shown by actively engaging in frontier exploration in Kiana, which led to achieving the spudding of the Ebenyi well in March 2023. Through strategic value-yielding investments in Nasarawa State, applying technological innovations and sustainable practices, we aim to catalyze the development of Nasarawa State's energy resources, thereby generating inclusive growth and prosperity for all. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, no doubt the energy transition, which is driven by the urgent need to mitigate climate change and reduce emissions, is fundamentally reshaping the way we produce and consume energy. Clearly, energy sources such as solar, wind, hydroelectric power are increasingly becoming central to the global energy mix, promising cleaner and more sustainable alternatives to traditional fossil fuels. It is, however, essential to acknowledge and note that the transition to a low-carbon economy is not possible without the foundational support of the mining sector. And this is how Nasarawa State becomes very critical, even in the clean energy conversations. Minerals such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, and rare earth elements are essential components of renewable energy technologies, including batteries for electric cars and storage systems for renewable power generation. Therefore, as the world transitions towards a cleaner and more sustainable energy future, the demand for these critical minerals will soar exponentially. And this translates to incremental value to states like Nasarawa State that have correctly positioned themselves to benefit from these opportunities. The unfolding collaboration between NMPC, GSCN, and Nasarawa State is based on sound premises such as mutual commitment to leveraging gas to create prosperity for our people, adherence to best-in-class business practices, application of cutting-edge technology and innovation. We acknowledge and commend the efforts of the government of Nasarawa State to create and entrench sustainable development in this state. NMPC, through its subsidiary company NGML and the GACN, is committed to stepping up on gas sector collaborations and initiatives that will ensure the earliest realization of gas fuel prosperity for Nasarawa State. We aim to expand access to clean and affordable energy, stimulating industrialization and creating employment opportunities for the good people of Nasarawa State. So, Your Excellency and distinguished guests, it's not just by accident that I'm attending with the Chief Investment Officer of NMPC Gas and Power Investment Services and the Managing Director of NMPC New Energy Company Limited. So we are completely positioned to support the economic renaissance of this great state. In conclusion, this second Nasarawa State Investment Summit provides a platform for collaboration, innovation, and progress in the mining, gas development, and gas distribution sectors. NMPC is therefore proud to be a partner in this journey, and we remain committed to working hand in hand with the government and people of Nasarawa State to unlock the full potential of the state's natural resources for the benefit of the people of Nasarawa State and indeed our great country, Nigeria. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, and the great people of Nasarawa State, please allow me to conclude this keynote address by adopting and using Mr. President's clarion call to all gas sector participants to ramp up efforts to accelerate investment and development of projects in the gas sector on a win-win basis. I would like to sign off by using the mantra of Mr. President: from gas to prosperity, renewed hope. Renewed hope for the people of Nasarawa State. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, distinguished gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can we give him a rousing round of applause?
From the AKK pipeline into Nasarawa State, with the overarching goal of catalyzing gas utilization and industrialization across the region. In collaboration with the Nasarawa State Government, NACIDA, Excella, and other key stakeholders, the Gas Aggregator Company of Nigeria, GACN, is spearheading the development of this strategic plan. It serves as a comprehensive framework and distribution architecture, laying the foundation for the efficient utilization of gas resources within the state. At its core, the Nasarawa State Gas Master Plan aims to establish city gates, gas distribution network, critical industrial cluster, and industrial manufacturing parks that will unlock the full potential of gas as a catalyst for economic growth and development, enhancing the gas infrastructure network within Nasarawa State, and encouraging the adoption of captive power generation solutions to ensure seamless connectivity and reliable supply to industrial clusters and end users. As part of this transformative initiative, several projects have been identified as key components of the Gas Master Plan. These projects are meticulously designed to prioritizing critical industrial clusters like the Goody Industrial Hub, where the promotion of captive power generation and industrialization will be paramount. Some of the ongoing gas projects in Nasarawa State include Goody Industrial Hub Phase 1. Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone located in Goody is a 406-hectare agro-industrial park aimed at positioning Nasarawa State as an agricultural hub. The hub will host 4 parks: the Special Agro-Processing Zone, SAPZ, Light Manufacturing Park, Inland Logistic Park, and Mineral Processing Zone. Premium Nigerian Marble and Granite, located at Mada Goody, is a production of granite tiles and slabs for the building and construction industry. existing manufacturing of premium Nigerian marble and granite products. Asgard Mineral Processing Limited. Located in Gora, the Asgard processing plant is a 120 tons D-input of spodumene, which processes it into concentrate form. Development of 100% private sector-owned mineral processing plant. Olam Group. Located in Rukubi, the project is an integrated rice farm and has 4,400 ha cultivated area, which is cropped twice in a year. The processing plant has a capacity of 500 mt per day for rice and 100 mt per hour for rice bran oil extraction capacity. NGF Farm, located in Kokuna, LGA. The project includes but not limited to crop cultivation, cash crop plantation, food processing, livestock management, fishery, poultry, agro-tourism, and others. We welcome stakeholders and investors to join us in our mission to transform Nasarawa State into a hub for gas utilization.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Can we give them a rousing round of applause? That is the video about the gas master plan, the gas infrastructure, using it to just burr up the economy and also help the industries site themselves properly where they are. I would like to convey His Excellency's heartfelt apologies. Would like to apologize that the entire summit will soon be coming to an end. We have one last session, and the session would last exactly 20 minutes. We have one last session for 20 minutes. But before we get to that, there are a few things we'll do, and we would first sign the deals, because there are deals that are happening. I would like for them to play the video, and that will take us to like 2 or 3 more minutes before we move on to the session. You can play the videos from the deal room. There's a collaboration that's going on, and it's been signed, a collaboration on lithium and gas value chain infrastructure and industrial hub. And that has been signed between NNPCL, Renewable Energy, and the Nasarawa State government. There's also, you can see in the deal room, these are the deals that have been signed, real life, real time. There's a collaboration that is also going on for the development of the NG midstream infrastructure, and this involves GACN, NGML, Power Gas, and of course NASIDA, the Nasarawa State Investment and Development Agency. Then there's yet another deal, and there's a third deal. There's an MOU being signed. There's a collaboration going on right now that's been signed, a collaboration for the development and implementation of the Nasarawa State Nasarawa Gas Master Plan. And that is being signed by GACN, Acceler, and NASIDA. And these are the deals that are going on right now. They're signing the MOUs, and we would move it on. That's what's actually happening, is real time and live for you. The final plenary that we have is on pillars of industrialization. Remember that the entire event is on industrial renaissance. I'd like to call the people on the panel to chair this. We have Hafsatu Shinkafi, CEO, IKEY Services. Can we welcome her? Can we give her a rousing round of applause? Hafsatu Shinkafi to please come. Pillars of industrialization, the technology and skill development imperative. To join her as panelists, we have Muhammad Lawal Zanna, that's the founder and chief executive officer of Oreo Limited. Muhammad Lawal Zanwa, please come and take your place. We'd also like to welcome Khalil Suleiman Halilu, EVC Naseni. EVC Naseni, please come to the stage. He's joining us for the pillars of industrialization. We have Olabode Ojo, the Vice President, IHIS Group, please join us. We also have here from home, Habiba Suleiman, the Director General, Human Capital Development Agency, of Nasarawa State. She's also going to be part of this panel discussion. And to round up, would like to invite Abdullahi Ari, the Vice President Strategy and Innovation from NACIDA, to please come and join. The session is on pillars of industrialization.
Services. IK Services is a company that is focused on trainings and facility management. Front runner of such an agency, I believe, is one of the first human development agencies in Nigeria. So congratulations on that. And we also have Khalil Suleiman, who's the EVC of Naseni, a young public office holder. You're welcome. We have right next to me my dear friend Ibrahim Zanna, Muhammad Zanna, sorry. He is the founder of Orayo Limited Nigeria. Orayo Limited Nigeria is an innovative company that has brought in solutions, technical solutions for large haul vehicle tracking and as well as fuel management. We also have Abdullahi Ari, and we have Mr. Ola Bodeojo with us tonight from IHS. So to quickly begin, I would like to start by asking Mohammed Zanna about his innovative solutions in tracking vehicles and managing fuel. And also, I would like to ask him, can you give us some important, tell us the importance of technology in building industries, transparency, and in investors' confidence, just like you have applied in your own company?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you once again. Nasarawa, this is the second time I'm here, and I feel very much at home. It's an honor to be with you guys here, so I would like to keep it plain and simple. My brother Lawal, the MD of Itana, I don't see him here. I just mentioned we go straight to the points and we try to, make this an action summit. So to summarize, Orayo is a technology company in the frontier of artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, data science, and we work predominantly in the energy industry, providing solutions that cuts across the entire value chain. I'm so happy. This is the first time I'm seeing His Excellency, the Governor, in the last 6 years. The last time I saw him was in his office in Lagos, when he was the Hem of Affairs, one of the largest conglomerate in Nigeria, and he has always been of support to me throughout those years. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. And I want to tell you, the last time we met, you recommended me to one of the largest FMCG companies. We won the project, we delivered the mandate, and today Orayo is 20 times the size it used to be when we met. Thank you, Your Excellency. So when it comes to technology, I think about 4 major things, and that's what has been going on in my head since I sat down in this, session. 1, where is Nasarawa today? What does the picture of success look like for Nasarawa? What are the things I think that can be put in place? And last but not the least, what help can we provide as private sector participants and leaders of industry, especially in the AI field? 1, where is Nasarawa today? A state situated just 2 hours from Abuja, population of about 3 million people. I would say maybe 60%, under the ages of 25. Nasarawa today has massive opportunities in the lithium space. I can see the technology village also coming up. What does success look like for Nasarawa employing technology? I tell most companies, anybody that does not invest heavily in technology in the next 5 years will become obsolete. Whether company, whether government, you must focus primarily on technology right now. But for the area of Nasarawa, I can see the technology village heavily coming up. In Nigeria, I've seen so many situations where we always have brilliant initiatives, but with a little bit more fine-tuning and going right to the roots instead of picking on the leaves, you can have much more success. So what am I talking about? I had a discussion with Ibrahim, my very good friend who has been doing exceptionally well. We talk every single week on issues pertaining to Nasarawa and how we could develop the technology part of this state. Ibrahim, well done. So one of the things that I'm talking about is today, artificial intelligence is the order of the day. Check any matrix around the world. For the next 30 years, we've transitioned from land. Land used to be the fantastic asset back in the day. We've moved from land to factories. We've moved from factories to data. From data right now is what can you make out of that data? From when I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth, I make my bed, I do my exercise, I move straight to my car, go to the office, pick a PC, finish my work, come back home. Imagine the amount of industries that cuts across the services that I enjoy every day. Each of these industries have applications that artificial intelligence could help. Who are the people that build these applications? Human beings. Why can't these human beings be from Nasarawa? Why can't these human beings be developed in Nasarawa? So ladies and gentlemen, today I know this is not a session to just come, talk English and leave. I like to back things with action. Your Excellency, sir, and Ibrahim, the top 10 engineers that you can get from Nasarawa with the highest CGPA have an automatic employment in Ohio today. We will get you in touch with our head of corporate services. I will personally spearhead that initiative, and that is going to happen. So number 3 is, what recommendations do I have? Ibrahim, we're always talking, but I'm happy the governor, His Excellency, is here. Is the likes of Google, the likes of Facebook. When these guys sit down and they're looking at the marketplace, they're looking at you and I, the fact that you have a mobile phone. You are part of their global market. So in as much as they want to sell to you, they also want to develop skill sets that they can consume, absorb, and enjoy the capacity of what? The local markets in Nigeria. That's why you have the likes of Andela coming up in Lagos. So for Nasarawa, my advice is, I happen to sit on the Committee of Artificial Intelligence of the Horasis Global Community. It's a think tank in Switzerland. It's connected to the World Economic Forum, and I'm more than happy to bridge that gap to connect the forward frontier people in Nasarawa with those initiatives, with those individuals to sit down and chart a development plan where a state like Nasarawa can drop resources, drop personnel, and more importantly, have a way forward to develop local talent here. The next thing is, besides the talent, you also want to look at clusters. One thing I have learned in life, especially in technology, when you're building hardware, microprocessors, controllers, semiconductors, the best thing you want is you look to your left, there's an expert there. You look to your right, there's an expert there. What stops Nasarawa from further going to 2.0 of the technology village to incubate such development centers right here locally? We can help you with getting trained. We can connect you with the right people to support you. So as in software development, people do UI, UX, people do Figma, people do front-end engineering design. You want these services to be right next to you at every point in time. So build people, build infrastructure through clusters, just like the kibbutz system that runs today in some parts of the world. And then what you have is shared services. that will attract a lot of investment to Nasarawa State, and that investment most of the times will come in development, and then the revenues will come as what the export of these skills to different parts of the world. I can sit down in Nasarawa Technology Village and design a particular application for a company in Silicon Valley. In retrospect, what? Nasarawa has more employment, Nasarawa has more revenue, and there's full development. So I'll end my discussion here with saying, should Nasarawa decide to pursue an AI-focused training initiative in whatsoever manner that they feel best to them, Orayo Technologies, as a company in the frontier of this, is pledging the sum of 10 million naira as a grant to this particular initiative when it is about to start. Your Excellency, we're here to support you.
Not working. Okay, now it's back on. Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. Zanna, for such a great answer. I'll move quickly to Mr. Khalil. Mr. Khalil Suleiman, can we make it brief? I would like to ask you about your plans in addressing the gaps of infrastructure in science and engineering around the country, and Nasarawa especially. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I think the key things to pick up from this panel are three things. Number one, industrialization, skills development, as well as technology. Technology and skills development are intertwined because you need the right set of skills to be able to build the right technology to address these problems. And eventually the end goal is to achieve industrialization. The role of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, as you know, we are the only purposely built government agency that has the mandate to do interventions in all areas of science and technology, which is a model copied from the Asian Tigers, and you can see how it has helped boost and accelerated their achievements. So I will begin in terms of talent development. NASENE has over 2,000 engineers across 10 institutes in the country. And we have been doing a lot of programs to build those talents, because we understand how it's going to affect the kind of technology you build, which will eventually bring the sort of output that we want around industrialization. Recently, we launched a program called Delta, which is developing engineering leaders through her. Currently, there are just 1 out of 20 engineers in the country is a woman, which is 5%, and is way below world average, which is about 28%. We believe that this is unacceptable, and we introduce a program that gives unfair advantage to women to be able to close that inequality gap. Another thing in terms of technology development, first of all, we introduce or launch our strategic launchpad, which is basically seeing how we can leverage on existing infrastructure. I'm glad Nasarawa is lucky to have a governor that was in the industries, the private sector, and we share some similarities to understand how you can leverage on what you have and not try to build everything from scratch. I'll give you an example on that. We are currently working with Nasarawa State and a private investor to convert or to introduce agricultural input and equipment assembly and manufacturing plant, just right outside, town. And this is one of the moves that we make in terms of leveraging on existing infrastructure. We've also introduced the CCC concept, which is creation, collaboration, and commercialization. Understanding that government cannot do this all by itself. You need private sector input, experience, as well as government enabling environment. so that our resources can go and do more for us. So we've been working hard on that. Part of the examples is we're able to attract $150 million with a Chinese firm, to build a battery cell manufacturing, which again, will close the gap that we have around processing of lithium battery. Currently, we are training engineers in Indonesia with regards to coal fertilizer, and soon they will be back. It's something that has never been done in this region. And, with regards to carbon emission, we find a better use for coal, than just burning it. We also have the Delta 2 program, which is technology transfer between Nigeria and Czech Republic of about $20 million to see how they can find their counterparts both in Nigeria and Czech Republic and be able to do technology transfer, domesticate it and commercialize it in Nigeria, which is an effort, to close the gap. But just to round up, it's worthy to mention that Nasarawa is the state with the highest activities, by Naseni. And one of the key reasons to that is because of the kind of leadership, we enjoy here, as well as the enabling environment, and also having someone like His Excellency that understands this kind of collaborations. I think Nasarawa is one of the few states that does and organize events like this. And constantly, we're looking for ways to continue to invest more in a state like this, and also enjoy, the benefits of being neighbors with the FCT. And we believe that will close the infrastructural gap. Thank you very much.
Hello? Okay, testing. That was excellent. Thank you so much. And also, I would like to add that, as a young leader in your position, you have a lot of responsibility as a youth leader, and a lot of eyes and attention is on you. So I hope you really set a good example. I know your precedence has been very good. You have a good track record. So I hope you continue building on that. Thank you. And I would like to jump directly to Ms. Habiba Suleiman and ask a question, because we're running out of time. So I would like to give you as much time as you need. Based on your remarkable achievements, I would like to hear some of the key focus that you have put in your building your human capital development in the Nasarawa State's workforce in order to attract investors. Because of course you need a skilled workforce in order for industries to be built. So please, can you shed some light on that for us?
Thank you very much. For us in Nasarawa State, I think we truly got it right by realizing that human capital development is a game changer for accelerated growth and development. At this moment, I am very, very proud because we are the first in the whole country to establish an agency dedicated to human capital development, and we remain the only state to have an agency for human capital development. The commitment and the dedication has not wavered at all. His Excellency has made us a priority, and we've not taken that for granted. Back in 2019-2020, the aftermath of the NSAS saga, is part of the reason why we made the youth a priority thematic area for human capital development. And in Nasarawa State, like the first speaker rightly said, our teeming population of youth is quite overwhelming. And there's nothing else to do but to guide them towards realizing their potentials of becoming productive members of society. In Nasarawa State, aside from the agency, we also have the Wing Commander Abdullahi Ibrahim Skills Acquisition Institute. We have the Relevant Technology Board, and we work with great synergy, because when you talk about skills, you're talking about soft and hard skills. When he spoke about artificial intelligence, in my mind, I was like, we need to match it with emotional intelligence. So it's a whole 360-degree agenda. We have focused so much on trainings. job-specific trainings. We understand that people have to have some level of competencies before they can successfully perform tasks. And, industry-specific technical skills need to be top on the agenda. I think that is the highest pillar for us to even achieve and sustain the industrial renaissance. And so, like His Excellency earlier mentioned, he has also constituted an oil and gas committee, and we're working with them to see how we can design targeted trainings across board, not just in the areas of oil and gas, but agriculture and mining as well. So we've done quite a lot. We've graduated in thousands youths from various skills. You're talking about electrical, electronics, you're talking about auto mechanics, and a whole host of others, including employability and entrepreneurship as well. And what we have in the pipeline, I'm sure His Excellency would see quite a number of our proposals and memos going in, and I'm very, very sure and I'm convinced that he's going to give us the approvals. But what we are going to be doing is simultaneously do these trainings, and I want to use this medium to thank you, sir, the first speaker, for the opportunity you're giving to Nasarawa State. Liaising with you would be a great pleasure, and I'm hoping that you will find our people with the level of competency that you expect for the level of training that you want to collaborate with us. So a lot is going on. Human capital development, I think, is top on the agenda. And I want to use this opportunity again to tell our investors that in terms of labor, Nasarawa State is ready to deliver. You see, local content is not just in the area of productivity for us. Local content for us will also serve as security for investment. Once you have our people on ground, on the fields, that's their daily bread. They will also serve as a means of securing that investment. And so when we talk about our local participation, it's across board. But I want to assure you again that you would find that we have the teaming numbers, we have people with the competencies that you desire to drive your investment in Nasarawa State. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Ms. Suleiman. That sounds like Nasarawa State is ready for industries to come in with that type of preparation and workforce that has been put in place and enabled. Mr. Ojo, please can I move to you right now? So there's a new policy on broadband, a national policy on broadband. Please, can you explain how it's going to impact the industrialization of Nasarawa State and across the whole nation?
Okay, thank you very much. For a minute there, I didn't know you were calling my name. I thought it was the Chinese gentleman calling my name. That's fine. Thanks a lot for having us here. We are IHS Towers. In IHS Towers, we have about 17,000 towers across Nigeria, warehousing, radio, equipment for the mobile network operators and the internet service providers as well. My organization is a subsidiary of IHS Towers. It's called GICL, Global Independent Connect Limited. We're basically tasked with building out infrastructure from a fiber network perspective, as well as rolling out mobile networks in rural areas as well. So that's us contributing our bit in terms of deepening infrastructure in Nigeria, as well as ensuring that we break the digital divide as a country as well. As you know, Nigeria, our GDP has diversified a lot from the oil sector to a lot of things as well. Case in point is the telecommunications and information services sector contributes a significant portion to the GDP nowadays. I think it's like 1/7 or so. And so that presents a lot of tremendous opportunities from a growth standpoint, job creation, as well as digital literacy as well. So just to touch quickly on your question, the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy is still championing the National Broadband Plan, which as at next year, 2025, should have 70% of people having accessibility to broadband in Nigeria. What we have done from our side is to go about the business of connecting our towers to fiber. For the past 3 years, we've successfully connected over 4,000 of our 17,000 towers to fiber. We have rolled out about 12,500 kilometers of fiber in that regard in Nigeria, across Nigeria as well. And in Nasarawa State, when I did my last check quickly, we had rolled out about 500 kilometers of fiber as well. So that is us ensuring that from an infrastructure perspective, we're laying a very decent baseline for broadband, for achieving the national broadband plan in Nigeria as well. I would also like to say that for me, attending this summit is very, very interesting because I feel that there's a lot to do here from a connectivity standpoint. Because obviously when you have the infrastructure, you need to ensure that there's connectivity above the infrastructure layer, as well as looking through in terms of the digital solutions and services that will be above the connectivity layer as well. So when I see and I hear companies working production of lithium-ion batteries, companies working CNG, finding crude oil, and I hear very interesting words like artificial intelligence, data analysis as well. We definitely will need connectivity to make that happen as well. And I'm also thinking that surely the state is also thinking in line of digital literacy. So, there must be awareness for sure, there must be training as well for you to get to that digital literacy. If you're not literate, you cannot make use of all these services and solutions. And there is where I think we can also support. We in GICL and IHS were particularly excited by the fact that we know that Nasarawa State now has 0 ROW for infra development fiber in Nigeria. That's very interesting for us. We have modeled it as part of our plans for deployment for this year, and we'll definitely be discussing relevant stakeholders on where we want to leverage our plans and how we also can deepen the presence of the physical infrastructure to maybe areas of interest that may be mutually interesting to us as GICL, IHS, and also to Nasarawa State government as well. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, that was a good answer. Thank you. Finally, I would like to ask Mr. Ari about, Mr. Ari is the VP Strategy and Innovation at NACIDA. Am I right? NACIDA. So please, can you speak about your process in strategy formulations in Nasarawa around your Nasarawa Revolution, Industrial Revolution plan, just quickly so that we can round up. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity. For us in Nasarawa State, I think it is a case of opportunity meeting preparation. We have seen a need to leverage on technology and innovation to drive the industrial revolution in the state. And His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule has taken the lead to create an innovative ecosystem that will bring about sustainable development. And this is evident in the creation of the Nasarawa State Information Technology and Digital Economy Agency. That is not only saddled with the responsibility of equipping our populace with disruptive skills that will make them to become self-reliant and be of employer of labor, but to also making sure that Nasarawa State is positioned to be able to compete favorably with other states in the country. Today, as we speak, NACIDA, as is popularly called, it's not just an agency, it's an agency that is empowered to provide trainings in emerging skills like blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and the rest. All of these things are the deliberate effort put in place by the state government to ensure that an enabling environment is created and then businesses will thrive. Having said this again, my big sister here, Habiba, talked about the Wing Commander Abdullah Ibrahim Vocational Center. It is part of the visionary leadership of His Excellency in the year 2022 when he came on board, realizing the importance of vocational skills towards driving development. His Excellency has set up that vocational institute, and today a lot of our people, since its inception, the institute has trained over 500 citizens of the states in the areas of computers maintenance and repair, plumbing, hair drying, and then the rest of them. The whole idea is to be able to have a skilled workforce that will be able to meet the demands of not just our own needs in the state, but the demands of the willing investors that are willing to come and invest in Nasarawa State. So when I said for us it is a case of opportunity meeting preparation, you will agree with me that the setting up of the Nasidia, the Wing Commander Abdullah Ibrahim Vocational Center are testimony or evident to this fact. And then just before I wrap up, today Nasidia that we are talking about, the Information Technology Agency of the state, as part of the visionary leadership of the DG there, they are able to attract the first artificial intelligence mining lab in the state in partnership with the state university. So, and then you also agree with me that this initiative is coming at a time that the Avatar lithium processing plant that was commissioned by His Excellency 2 weeks ago, you will agree with me there is going to be a lot of handshake in that regard. But of course, in the state, we are not claiming monopoly for knowledge. Of course, there are rooms for improvement, and it is glad tidings, heartwarming. We hear Mr. Shatima extending the hands of friendship in terms of opportunities for our populace. So definitely, these are some of the opportunities that we are going to leverage on to further build or consolidate on the things that we have on ground. So on our part, quickly, as the investment promotion agency, the one-stop investment promotion agency in the state, we value innovation and technology. And of course, we have established a collaboration with Google on the feasibility of seeing how we can migrate our IT infrastructures to the virtual workspace. This initiative, again, if it comes to light, will bring about enhanced service delivery, accountability, and then also equipping the investment staff with the requisite skills that will enable them to drive the industrialization agenda of the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ari. So I would like to conclude by emphasizing how inspiring this summit has been and my trip to Nasarawa has been. I've seen some familiar faces here. Like I said at the beginning, I am so proud to be on this panel as somebody that has founded a company that is focused on technical vocational education and trainings. To be on a panel that is basically with professionals in that field I'm very proud of that. And also being here, I've seen some captains of industry that I've worked with before, like Mr. Sujimoto. When I was in Lagos starting my business, some of my workers were at his sites in Banana Island. We are also with other different companies in Eco Atlantic. So it's quite inspiring, and I'm very passionate about skills development, human capital development for the majority of the Nigerian population who happens to be youth in this 21st century and information age that we're currently in and everything. So thank you very much for having me. And also, I'm afraid we don't have time for the panelists to say any closing words and remarks. And also, I really do see a lot of prosperity and a great future for Nasarawa State, as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Give them a rousing round of applause. And that was our very last plenary. In a minute, I will be calling on His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Esule to deliver his speech, but before then, we would invite the winners of the MSME. Please.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi Esule, our royal fathers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Akumishi Ainaji, and I served as the lead for the MSME Challenge for this year's Investment Summit. After several applications, 17 pre-selected that pitched on Twitter, today we are here to unveil the top 3 winners of the business development support in trainings and also in cash. At this segue, I would love to invite to come up to stage the mentors that helped us throughout this process. First on the list is Dr. Dikpo Awojide, a senior management and operational improvement consultant from the United Kingdom. Mrs. Yemisi Isidi, the co-founder of Thrift Africa. Mr. Richardson Ojeka, the founder, Africado Foundation. Okay, so I would also call on the winners to come. In third place, we've got Grab Livestock, led by Aisha Rilwan. Second place, Nutri Foods, led by Dahir Ahmad. And in first place, and the winner, Getwell Innovations, led by Aminu Hashidu.
These are the judges, and these are the winners. There's a book called Animal Farm. I think it's by George Orwell. And he said, I think in the book, they said all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. The same George Orwell spoke about the fact that why do writers even write? Writers write to be remembered after they're gone. So why do political leaders like Engineer Abdullahi Esule lead? Why are they in politics? Why is he in politics? Is His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Esule trying to imprint his name on the sands of time? Is he merely bringing investors, wealth, and prosperity to Nasarawa State? Is he changing the dynamics? Would he go away? Or would his name not be written only on the pages of history, but on the sands of time? Would invite His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Esule, who will do the presentation of the gifts and as well deliver his speech. To accompany His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, we would like to invite for the presentation of the speech our Royal Father, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kefi, Dr. Shehu Chindoya Musa, to kindly come up with His Excellency, bring with him all those royal pearls of wisdom. Would also like to invite Dr. Faisal Shuaib, who has been really key in the Nasarawa State Investment and Advisory Council, to also join us. Would also like to invite the Chairman, National Population Commission, to also join His Excellency for this moment of history as the Nasarawa Investment Summit caps up with such rousing applause. And of course, because we love our women and we fly them very high, Professor Saadatu Hassan Liman, Vice Chancellor, Nasarawa State University, to ventilate this crowd. Please, Vice Chancellor, kindly join to accompany His Excellency as he hands the baton of wealth and prosperity to these young entrepreneurs that we're grooming. It is said that they're young, but in Nasarawa State, they're young, yet we're making them yield yields. And that is what His Excellency wants to secure the future. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State. The third place goes to
Grab Livestock, led by Aisha Rilwan.
Aisha Rilwan. She has won 1 million, I wouldn't say dollars, 1 million naira. Congratulations as you pave your way to become an entrepreneur.
And second place by Nutri Foods, led by Dahir Ahmad.
Dahir Ahmad, the second place winner, 1,500,000. And the first
and winner, Get Well Innovations, led by Aminu Hashidu.
His name is Amir Hashidu, so he actually wears Babariga, and he has 2.5 million, not to invest in Babariga, but to invest in his business. It's first place winner. The judges, for doing what you have done, you need to have a handshake with His Excellency and a photo op. The judges, please step forward, one after the other. Have a handshake with His Excellency. Give them some very crisp pictures. This would go into the history archives. Thank you for your good work, for being dispassionate, for being very avid. Thank you so very much. Thank you. They're growing for us, the future techpreneurs of Nasarawa State, and we appreciate what you're doing. We're sowing the seeds, and there's a fountain spring of youth innovation, and we're securing the future for the state. Congratulations, and thank you so very much. Give them a rousing round of applause. And now, His Excellency Engineer Abdullah Isule, noted for clarity of vision, the visionary of the Nasarawa State Investment Summit, Industrial Renaissance. I give you His Excellency Engineer Abdullah Isule.
The Right Honorable Speaker, ably represented by the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Mohammed Onyaki, our member of the National Assembly, Honorable Ari, who has been here since yesterday, really. My dear brother, the Group CEO of the NMPC, Mr. Melekari, who is ably represented by the Vice President, Gas, Power and New Energy, Mr. Olelekan Ogule, all the other members of your own delegation. The Assistant Chief Executive, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, who is ably represented also by the ED Health Department, Dr. Mustafa Lamurde. Captains of industries and major stakeholders, especially in the oil and gas sector, members of the State House of Assembly, our Father, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kefi, other royal fathers who are here, members of the EVC Naseni and other distinguished CEOs who are here, special advisor, secretary to the state government and our head of service, the state chairman of our party, distinguished speakers and distinguished panelists who were here, distinguished members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I think let's show great appreciation to the Almighty Allah for giving us the opportunity to see the planning, the execution, and now we are seeing the conclusion of this event. We thank God Almighty as He brings every one of you here safely. May God Almighty take you back safely to your various destinations. I also want to thank Mr. President for ensuring that he sent an able representative in the person of the Honorable Minister of Industries to represent him yesterday. I also want to thank Mr. Vice President also for sending his special advisor, in charge of special duties, a former minister of the FCT, Modibo. Some of them thought maybe we took the money in the state and we kept quiet. But I think by going public yesterday, Mr. President has put that to rest, that the money is coming. And once it comes, every one of you will know that the money has come. I also want to thank the representatives that came in here and everyone that was there. Let me specifically also show great appreciation to Hajia Amina Mohammed of the United Nations, that she had to wake up as early as 5 o'clock in order to speak to us virtually yesterday. We want to really thank her and show great appreciation for doing that. And also, we want to show great appreciation to the President of the African Development Bank. Even though he was not able to come, but he got his entire delegation, to be here yesterday and to deliver his keynote address. So we want to thank our members of the National Assembly, members of the State Assembly, Honorable Minister, and the Royal Fathers. Let me take the opportunity also to thank the captains of industries, especially my own captain and my own chairman, Alaji Aliko Dangote, for sending a great team here, by my dear sister to represent him and represent him. The EVC, we can't thank you enough for coming to be part of this event, because we knew yesterday was a very difficult day for you, that you were commissioning 3 different projects. And at one point I felt nobody from NMPC will be able to come. But I thank you for taking your time to come and for delivering the kind of address that you have done that. And we are forgiving you by asking him not to come, by the way. Let me also show great appreciation to the beautiful participants that we have as the panelists. That was a wonderful panel. Usually the second day of such events are very scanty. But today you can see the second day actually became more vibrant, with a lot of show of interest, people wanting to know about oil and gas, people wanting to know about gas utilization, people wanting to know about everything that is there. So I thank you, and I thank you for that. I thank our various sponsors, who have ever done so much. And let me correct myself, by the way. Earlier on, because my Chinese is not that big yet. So earlier on, I told you that 100 million had been given by the Chinese group of Ganfen in order to show that. And I told them, and I said, we only need 35 million. They said, no, we are still given the 100 million. Now, the aspect I didn't understand was that we will take the 35 million for Ibrahim, and the remaining 65 million is supposed to go to help those who are doing agriculture in Nasarawa State. That's what they meant. So my Chinese is not strong enough to understand agriculture yet, so I thought it was going to go to the pocket of the state government. But now it is going to go actually to those doing agriculture. So the Commissioner for Agriculture will take that up and will decide how the money will go to our farmers in order to support them. That's the correction they had given to me earlier when I was just going down. So I want to show them great appreciation. My dear friend, Mohammed Zanwa, you don't know what you have done. You have full satisfaction by saying that let us select 10 engineers and you are going to give them full improvement. I thank you so much for that. And that is the essence of what we are saying. We are training people. I'm giving them skills. So before you leave, I want the Commissioner for Education actually to liaise with you and the Commissioner for Science and Tech so that they can select the best 10 students we have who have not yet been employed in area of engineering, so that by next week, I don't mind bringing them to collect their letter to make sure that they start working immediately. That's what I am trying to do. So I thank you, sincerely for doing what you are doing in that area. And I appreciate you also for the additional money you have given, in that manner. We can't thank you enough. We appreciate the NMPC, as I said earlier, and we appreciate everything that the NMPC has continued to do. I'm happy to hear that the AKK line is going to be concluded, is going to be completed maybe next month. And what the EVC did not announce some of the goodies that he has brought for us. So I think it's not something that I should share it, I should take it alone. I believe the people of Nasarawa State should be able to hear to thank you. You have seen what we have done about the Nasarawa Gas Master Plan. The NMPC has decided that they will sponsor that gas master plan 100%, they will pay for it. I want to thank you sincerely for doing that. In addition to that, since the AKK line will be concluded, the NMPC says they want us to give them a piece of land somewhere in Karu local government so that they can have a gas industrial park. And in my mind, I said, we just recently acquired 25 hectares of land in Karu, which was going to be for the Renewed Hope housing. But then, when we went to the Minister of Housing, the Minister of Housing said, I don't care if it is in Karu or if it is in Lafia. So I said, all right, if that is the case, we'll take our land from you, from Karu. We'll give you land in Lafia. And since we are given the land in Lafia for the Renewed Hope housing, which is really better for us because we have already started the housing ownership, and where we have the biggest number of government workers is here in Lafia. So for that reason, we have land that we can offer to them right here in Lafia, and then we can take that land, tell the GMD we will give you that land so that you can go ahead and do the industrial park for oil and gas. And that is exactly the way we will look at it. If you want me to bring the certificate for you, I will go and collect it from Ministry of Housing and I will bring it to you on Monday. So you can take it up from there and go ahead. So we want to really, really thank you. I want to show great appreciation to my younger brother, the EVC of Naseni. I really feel bad that they were not given enough time to be able to say everything that they needed to say. This is a gentleman actually, that they have a beautiful plan here called Amedi, as you are just living life here. And somebody came to me and said to me that I want to build an agricultural assembly plant in Lafia. So I want you to give me land. I say, I have better for you. Let us go see if we can get it. And I said, Naseni has just built Amedi, and they have not started using it. So maybe instead of them bringing all the money to do that, I can go and plead with them to allow you go into a PPP so you can use their facility for your assembly of tractors immediately. And the guy said, yeah, give me their telephone number, I will go there. I said, no, this is not telephone number matter. This is something that I will take you there myself. And actually, I took them to this young man, who is the EVC. And immediately he accepted the idea. And I'm happy to say they are almost signing the agreement right now for them to be able to do that. So EVC, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for this wonderful thing that you have continued to do. Finally, another good thing happened with NMPC. The background we saw NMPC the lithium, when the lithium agreement between Naseni and between our company and NMPC was going on lithium. As you all know, we have heard so much about lithium being the new energy, the new direction, the new things that everybody is going. NMPC is thinking ahead, by actually getting partnership, to be part of the lithium. This is what serious-minded people do. They look at tomorrow. They become Nostradamus. They don't sit down and wait until tomorrow comes. Right now, fossil oil is becoming a challenge. Sooner or later, fossil oil will become very difficult to sell. So NMPC is already thinking about that. And today we signed the agreement, with NMPC on lithium, because Nasarawa is actually the home of lithium now in Nigeria. So we want to thank NMPC for that. And that is going to be an agreement where the moment NMPC goes into that, NMPC will be part and parcel of the development of electric vehicles. I keep telling you guys that we need to take one step at a time. If we did not take that step to start the processing of this lithium, Nasarawa State will not be known on lithium. Today, the world sees Nasarawa State as a destination for lithium because we have taken that one step. Forget about those who are criticizing it. Somebody in my village of Akwanga is criticizing that it's a I say, it's a small factory, huh? Have you ever had one-tenth the size of this factory in your whole village in the distance that you say? So it's a factory that is going to be processing 1 million. And so it has exposed Nasarawa State now to the world. And you can see NMPC is willing and has already entered into an agreement. I feel fulfilled. I feel happy. And I feel that this is where we are going. And I think that is exactly what it's supposed to do. Finally, I appreciate Nasida, Ibrahim, and your team for putting this kind of event together. You have done a wonderful job together with your team. A lot of members of your team actually are here, and they are at the background who are doing one thing or the other. I think this is wonderful that you have done that. We will continue to do. By the grace of God, if God leaves us alive, we have one more. In 2026, before we exit in 2027, we will have the last summit, so that we can finish from there and we can hand over to the Emir of Kefi. He can hand it over to the government when we finish and then go from there. And I think that's the direction we go. I thank our major stakeholders, and there are so many of you here since yesterday. Some of you were here yesterday, you are here today. You will be here continuously until we do that. I can't thank you enough, every one of you. May God continue to strengthen you. May God continue to give Nasarawa State what it needs in order for it to compete with others. I was happy yesterday when Minister Modibo said that 6 states were created in 1996. 3 were actually in the north and 3 in the south. And in the north, the most developed state, the state that had made progress, the state that was in front was Gombe. But after visiting Nasarawa State, I'm happy to say that Nasarawa is that #1 today. I'm happy to hear it from him. I didn't say it. He is the one who said it from Gombe. So Governor Inua, don't hold me responsible. I didn't make this statement. In case you hear me, it was actually your Minister of FCT from Gombe who has seen Gombe and has seen life here and now say that we are #1. So please, you can be #2, Inua, and then we can go from there. Thank you very much, and may God continue to bless every one of you.
We'd like to thank His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Aisule, the visionary of the Nasarawa Investment Summit. It's really been thrilling. It's been so veritable that he's coming over.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we close, we'd like to quickly recognize a group of people who are very special, our sponsors. Would like to just quickly mention them. I'll mention them very quickly and invite you to just give them a round of applause as we close. Please celebrate Africa Finance Corporation, Access Bank, Ultima Gas, IHS, Greenville LNG, Silvex, NNPC, GSCN, Dico and Mahmoud, Punuka, Afex, Olam Agri, Moti, one of our deal room sponsors. We also have Saro Africa International Limited, Evercore. We have El Rufai Attorneys at Law, Panda Agric Novum, Bank of Industries, Nasarawa Technology Village, Olaniwu Ajayi, UBA. We have Modern Shelter, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Keystone, Ask Power System, and Gang Feng. A big thank you to all our sponsors.
Thank you so much, our sponsors. Can we kindly remain standing for the national anthem? We'd like to announce that there's lunch for those who are part of the panel. As well, His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Aisule is going around to just inspect the exhibitions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We invite you to Nasarawa State. It's a wrap. Thank you, Temi.
Thank you very much. It's been such an honor.
Thank you. All right.